some water.
They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. I'm way too fly, yeah, I'm feeling myself. Ain't no chance I'm coming down, no. Got a soul view to myself, yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they wanna come take my place? I work too hard for it, don't need a replacement. This my vocation, now I got rollies all in rotation. Hop on a jet just to take a vacation. Remember the moments was trapped in the basement. Now the hard work is all taking me places. Squatting all black like we trapped in the matrix. Bet on myself and go ball out in Vegas. Living a life like I'm rich and I'm famous. Don't see the grind that I know that it came with. I ain't make it this far for myself, yeah. I had to prove to everybody else, I had to set them straight, yeah. I had to ball, so I had to renovate, I know. They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate.
Really good. Salute everybody in the building, man. Here for boxing. Y'all need to give an award to the top troll. Salute, King. Salute. Eastside Easy, salute to you, King. Sonny Augustine, Devontae Richardson, man. Salute, family. Salute. Thank you, man. Appreciate the love, man. I really, really do, man. Thank you. What's this right here? I'm getting text messages and stuff. So what's goody? Ray Davis?
Nothing, man. Nothing. Some great news out there, man. People trying to make fights, and they just got belts. There's all types of stuff going on, Clay.
Man, it don't never stop, man. Shout out to Terrence Crawford for finally giving us something to vacating those belts. We'll talk about it. I figured that was coming though. Definitely figured that was coming. I got an opportunity to also rewatch the fight with Virgil Ortiz, and Serhii Bohachuk. And interesting turnout in what I have for you guys today on the fight. I watched it and I scored it. I scored the fight. I didn't just watch it like I did before. I actually scored each round and got some interesting results from what I saw. We'll talk about that as well. We'll definitely talk about that as well. And of course, we'll talk about 147 pounds, the weight division, and we'll talk about how the belts being vacated affects this division. What I want to see, what Ray Davis wants to see at this point. Let's get right to the business of 147 and see what we want to see happen. Right? At the end of the day, the belts is no more holding up at the belts. We've got a couple of elevated champions right now, I would think. All the interim or secondary belts seem like they're going to be elevated to the actual belts now. So we have champions now. We have unification conversations that can happen now in a real way. And we ultimately have a path to undisputed now. And it'll be interesting to see how the division reacts, how Jaron Ennis is able to maneuver through the division now, how the champions react to the information, how the promotional companies react to the information, how they come together. And let's see, maybe even, being that Turkey is part of the conversation, being that he has interest in what's going on with Jaron Ennis' career, let's see how he gets involved in the division as well. We'll talk about all those things, and we'll talk about everything else boxing as well. Also wanted to dab a little bit into Turkey's relationship right now with Tim Tszyu, and really just trying to get a little deeper, into it and see what is it that happened between Tim Tszyu and Turki Al-Sheikh. What's altered their relationship? Turkey seems to be taking more of a stance right now at this point. He's becoming way more vocal. He's taking things a little bit more personal than he did before. He's not as receiving or as laid back with the conversation of Turkey's business is concerned. When it comes to the business of Turki Al-Sheikh, what he's here to do, what he has in his mind envisioned for boxing and the influence he wants him and his country in Saudi Arabia to have on a boxing space. He doesn't seem to be taking very well to anybody who's getting in the way of that happening. And we'll talk about that as well and all those things, you know what I mean? And of course, right-handed downtown Brooklyn is going to keep it 100 and always keep Edgar Berlanga in the news, saying, let's go Edgar. Yeah, man, we got a couple of weeks ago, got about a month now, right? Counting down for Edgar Berlanga and Canelo Alvarez. Chop Corley actually favors Edgar Berlanga to win this fight as well. He actually spoke on it as well at the Hall of Fame and said that he thinks Edgar's gonna do the upset. I don't know if he has a personal relationship with Edgar or if he really just feels that way, but I think it's interesting as the time is moving on, you're finding some people are starting to take into consideration Edgar Berlanga's power and his youth and all those things, and they're believing that this is going to be a factor with the Canelo Alvarez fight as well. We'll talk about that a little bit as well, you know what I mean? But Ray Davis, how's your day going? This is actually I talked to you a little bit earlier, but I really haven't talked to you today like that. So how's your day going?
That's actually funny because I gave you the day off.
Right. I was running around today with the son.
Right.
You know what I mean? Got to get ready to senior year in high school, so he's got pictures and everything that he's getting put together, and we got something to eat, got him some things, getting ready for school next week. School starts for him next week, so making sure he's on point.
Facts. No, I got you. I got about to have the same thing with my son. They're about to start the same thing. Senior pictures, all this, all that. End of the day, he has to get it done. But yeah, man, I get it, Clay. Everything you said is 100, man. I like what you're saying, and what I want to say is that my day's going great. I've been getting some good news, hearing the same old BS. Listening to a couple of content creators today in the space and out of space, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Listening to their takes on things and getting a pretty good idea of what's going on and where it's coming from. I love the Tim Zoo conversation. I definitely have an answer for you of what's going on there. It's more opinion-based, but it kind of leads from what's taking place with everything going on. So that might interest you, and that might interest everyone in the chat. Y'all gonna be like, "Wow, I didn't think of that." Yeah, man, day's going well, man. Day's going well.
No doubt, man. So where do we start? I want to let's continue the conversation yesterday a little bit. As far as I told you guys, I'd watch the fight again with Sergey Bohachuk and Virgil Ortiz, and give you guys my scorecard and how I looked at it and what I found from the fight. And I'll be honest with you, you know what I mean? I watched it with my son. Me and my son watched it. We both scored it today. Came together, spoke on each of the rounds, stopped, paused, went through the rounds, what we saw, weaknesses, strengths, domination, punch output, ring generalship, effective aggression, effective punching, versus just good boxing versus actual aggressive first, trying to go for the knockout, fighting, you know what I mean? And it was interesting what I came up with. I don't know, should I start off with the scorecard or should we break it down just with the rounds? What do you think?
So why don't you just give them the scorecards, and then if there's any questions, you break it down. Because I think everyone's waiting to see what you were going to say once you did this. I mean, you kept us waiting, Clay.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. After watching the fight, breaking it down round for round, I ain't gonna lie to you. Sergey Bohachuk walked away with the win, bro. It was a 6-6 fight, 6 rounds to 6 rounds, and then when you count in the knockdowns, I had Sergey winning the fight 114 to 112 on the scorecards. It was very interesting. Me and my son watching the fight, it was just like, it was like 2 separate fights going on in the ring at the same time. You know what I mean? You had the fight for the knockout, the fight of mano a mano, and that fight happening, and then you had the boxing match that was happening in the ring.
Right.
In the boxing match, I had Sergey Bohachuk winning the boxing match. In the fight, it looked like Virgil was the one kind of leaning towards. I could see, that 8-4 scorecard that people were giving Virgil. I understand where they were coming from because Virgil was the one who was really pushing it. But there were times in the fight where Virgil was just having. First of all, Virgil had a lot of spurts in the fight, right? He had a lot of spurts where he was and I think that had a lot to do with the amount of energy he was exerting trying to get to the knockout. So he'd go and have these successful spurts, and then he kind of chill out a little bit, get on his jab a little bit, start moving around the ring, maybe trying to gather his energy together. And during that time, Serhii Bohachuk was being so busy, he never stopped. Bohachuk never stopped being busy, never stopped with the pressure. And it was like he was scoring, he was scoring, he was scoring. So at the end of the rounds, you know, and Virgil had a habit of ending each round well, right? So there were rounds in there that could have been stolen by Virgil, according to how the judges are seeing it. By the way he was ending the rounds, there were rounds that could have gone to him off the strength of that. But at the end of the day, you know, just like I said, there was a fight going on in the ring, and there was a wait, Clay got the new sign up. That new sign up. There was a fight that was going on in that ring, and there was a boxing match going on that ring. And I hope that makes sense to everybody in the building to understand. Like, there was a boxing match going on, but there was a fight going on. The fight looks like Virgil won the fight, right? He was winning the fight. He was the one who was clipping Bohachuk from time to time, hurting him, giving him the Bambi legs every now and then. He was winning the fight. But the boxing match, Serhii Bohachuk, I had him up 114, 112. That's how I saw it.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
We watched it today. Very interesting fight. And definitely a rematch.
That's good, though. Hey, look. So that means everybody's knows it was a close fight.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad you rewatched it. You seen that point. Again, I haven't yet. I'm pretty standing where I am because I did score it, and I had an 8-4.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the 2 knockdowns were significant. I think that closed the gap in the points. And I think there was even a round where I think you could score it for it was a big score for Bohachuk too. But at the end of the day, like I said, if anything, I seen it as a draw. I called it that night. You were on the phone with me, you know, no capping. You know what I mean? I could see it going either way, in my opinion. But if you're saying, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it because I thought there was some rounds that I gave that was like real close rounds. I'm gonna say it was like probably the 4th and the 5th. I thought it was close, but
no, there was a swing round. I think around 6. The 6th round to me was a swing round. It could have went either way.
I think I gave that one to Bohachuk.
You know what I'm saying? I think on that round right there, we gave to Virgil. We ended up giving that round to Virgil. There was a lot of moments in that fight where you saw Virgil. I think it's a fight where I believe this is how I believe. I believe in the rematch. I expect Virgil to perform way better. I think him and Robert Garcia walked away from that match with a lot of knowledge. I think that fight was a very valuable, priceless fight for Virgil Ortiz. It was a fight he needed because, you know, that fight that you get, you know, especially with somebody like Virgil Ortiz who has all those knockouts, right? He has all those knockouts. And it's like that first fight that you get where you don't get to knock the person out. It's like a lot of bad habits get built in those type of records, right? When you just knock out, 21 wins, 21 knockouts. You end up building up a lot of bad habits, and it gets hard to break the bad habits because it starts to become a if it ain't broke, why fix it situation. And sometimes you need that fight that's going to give you that experience you need to give you the motivation you need to go ahead and fix it. Even from Robert Garcia's point of view, understanding that, you know what, Virgil Ortiz is a human being. He's not guaranteed to knock everybody out he fights, and as he's going up in competition, it's going to naturally become more difficult for him to get those stoppages. So they need to start pacing themselves out a little bit more. Virgil was overexerting himself, really going hard, trying to get that knockout, really chasing that knockout down in that fight, and he suffered for it as far as his stamina, his conditioning was concerned. It suffered because of that, and Virgil had to kind of make it through those tough areas where he was getting a little tired, get his second win back, and was able to once again have these spurts of effective punching and effective boxing, right? So they need to pace him out a little bit more, take his time. And I heard Robert Garcia, I believe it was, I can't remember, I wrote it down here. I think it was between round 5 and 6. Yeah. It was like really at the beginning, in between round 5 and 6, where he said, listen, I need you to slow down. I need you to slow down. Bring it back bring it back. Take your time. When it comes, it'll come, but you stop chasing it. I think Virgil let the lights get to him, the crowd, the hometown feeling, All those things got to him, and he started to really want to press the pace of the fight, and he wanted to get that knockout. And sir, he was just these Eastern Europeans, they're tough, they're highly skilled, the fundamentals are sound. They understand how to win rounds, and they're not going anywhere. They're not there to be put to sleep and have a highlight reel be made of them. You know what I mean? They're not there for that. And he just got somebody who just wasn't going to go away. He got with somebody who wasn't going to go away, and he had to start taking his time. Towards the end of that fight, he started boxing. Obviously, we saw him get on his boxing, and he showed the world that he can do that, right? And once Robert Garcia let him know, we need every single one of these last 3 rounds. We need every single one of them. You started to see him start kicking in some boxing, no doubt. Salute to Here for Boxing. Put some color in the chat. Here for the grind. No Diddy, no doubt. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you for putting some color in the chat, man. Appreciate you guys, man. So, but yeah, that's where I saw it. That's where I saw it at. Let me see what we got here in the notes here. Let's see. J Cash and Money Man call me Flay and Ray. I got you that. That's what's up, J Cash. Hit the like button for show. Blessings, AK Crowd. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Let's see. Right-handed down. So wants to talk about Edgar. He said if Edgar pulls it off, the internet going to break. 100%. Hit the like button, guys. No doubt, no doubt. Let's see. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. All right, we got through it. So yeah, man. That's what I saw in the fight. I don't want to make a long-winded situation out of it, but here's a question. At this point, we saw at the end of that fight what happened. I saw Virgil Ortiz accept the offer from Turki Al-Sheikh, but at the same exact time, at the end, he said, "Listen, we're waiting on that winner between Spence and Fundora." That fight obviously not even being made yet. We don't even know when that fight's going to get made. I'm even hearing rumors now that there's potentially some negotiations going on between Terrence Crawford's team and Sebastian Fundora. I don't know how true that is. I would think it makes a little sense if that would have happened, being that, Sebastian Fundora is risking vacating his WBO title at this point. If he doesn't fight Terrence Crawford, he'll be losing the title. I'm sure he'd rather lose the title in a ring rather than lose it by politics. So I could see how that could happen. But either way, I was trying to really process and understand, was Virgil Ortiz basically saying that he wasn't ready for Terrence Crawford? Or was he basically just acting in accordance with the WBC interim title that he had around his waist? Does that give him some kind of mandatory privileges to fight the winner of Errol Spence and Sebastian Fundora? And also, obviously, keeping in mind that the WBC made Terrence Crawford a champion in recess at 147, but also with that came a mandatory to the WBC title that would be getting fought for, or that Sebastian Fundora would be defending against Errol Spence on whatever date they decide to fight. Ray, are you there? Yeah. So, I mean, what did you feel about that as far as that mandatory situation, and as far as Virgil Ortiz feeling that he has a right to the winner of that fight? Does he have a right?
No. He can request it. Remember, he's just an interim title holder, so it's not the mandatory was ruled by the WBC to be the winner of the other fight with Terrence Crawford and Madrimov, excuse me. And because of that, they got the title eliminator, which actually put them in that position for the mandatory of that fight by the WBC. Now he can protest or say anything to get in line, and because he's the interim, he can say, "Hey, I want to interject. I got the belt here. I want to fight him for that spot," and they can put that fight together if they choose to. But Bud doesn't have to accept it. He won the eliminator. They won that shot for that belt.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, let me ask you this. Salute to JR Spock in the building. Do you think it'd be advantageous for Terrence Crawford possibly to go ahead and allow Virgil Ortiz to go ahead and get the winner of that fight? Especially if, listen, man, I'm sure Terrence Crawford's not scared of anybody, but at the end of the day, he just came off of a fight, a very competitive fight with Ismail Madrimov. He's looking more so than anything, in my opinion, to get money, A, but B, also becoming a unified, ultimately undisputed champion in that division. So that being said, Sebastian Fundora is a tall task, right? He's a complicated, awkward fighter to fight against. I know people have their opinions about how easy it would be fighting him or how susceptible Sebastian is to the body attack and campaigns and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, there's easier fights to be made in that division than fighting against a Sebastian Fundora, a 6'5" guy with an 84 inch arm reach. Just complicated, awkward guy to fight against. Would Terrence Crawford benefit at all, in your opinion, in allowing Virgil Ortiz to go ahead and take the winner of that fight? And then ultimately, if he's going to be fighting Virgil Ortiz, at least at that point, it would be a belt on the line, and he'd earn it, beating a Sebastian Fundora or Errol Spence, whoever wins out of that fight, to become an actual WBC champion, which falls in line with what he wants to do, which is become unified and an undisputed champion. Is there some strategy that would make sense at that point to allow that to come together in that way, where I'm gonna fall back and let him have that fight?
Right. So here's the way that could work out. There's actually a couple ways, but the way you can look into that and make that work is, you let Virgil go in and take that fight. The winner of that fight, you go find out who would be your potential mandatory, so you can get that out the way, so there's nothing in your way for that fight,
right.
In a division, or you see your champion in recess, you give everybody a big fight, make the big bucks with the PBC, if that's going to be what it is. Bring him out of whatever stalemate he's in, and wherever alternative world he is. Bring Charlo back, fight Charlo. Give the world what they want and make that happen. Only other thing is by Bud doing that is he can take on the winner of Tim Tszyu and too many of these weird names. Metropolitan, whatever.
Bakram Murataliev.
Yeah, that guy. So he can wait for that and try to unify there. He's going to get the WBO, which I think it's going to happen either way,
unless Sebastian takes that fight.
That's exactly.
And I'm only saying that because no matter what anybody wants to say, I'm not too sure what Errol Spence is doing. I don't know.
Well, there was claims today that he's got a new manager, or a new trainer. I don't know who the trainer is. It might be Calvin Ford. Calvin, Coach Calvin. Might be his trainer. There's, like I said, there's rumors have it that he got a new trainer. So it may likely happen. That fight may likely happen. And he may just go on and fight Virgil. I think his best bet, in my opinion, is trying to make the fight with Virgil. And if Virgil doesn't want to fight somebody that you can make whoever's going to be your mandatory and ask them to accept that as your mandatory. Somebody from the sanction. Get that out the way. So then, like I said, you got a clean slate. You ain't got nobody there. You got nothing to worry about. And you just keep it moving. You get the next fight, the winner of this, the winner of that. You keep it moving.
Right. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see. I think Errol Spence plays a big role in how this is going to turn out as well, as far as that Sebastian Fundora conversation is concerned. Just trying to understand if the rumors are real about Sebastian Fundora and Samson Leibowitz supposedly entertaining doing a fight with Terrence Crawford. Questions have to come to mind is what's going on with Errol Spence. You know what I mean? Like, he's the one who said he wanted to fight. He was supposedly working on getting a fight and getting a trainer. If it's getting to that point with Samson and Sebastian Fundora are pushing the pace and saying, listen, we want to get active. We want to put ourselves in position. And at the end of the day, we're not really interested in losing our WBO belt without a fight. If you're not going to give us a fight and put us in position to where we can fill up Cowboy Stadium and, make a bunch of money and do all those crazy things, what's the use in me losing my belt just for free, just waiting for you? A lot of these fighters are starting to understand that waiting around thing is for the birds. Errol Spence is taking his time with making his decision. It seems, honestly, since that fight with Terrence Crawford, I don't know at this point. I'm in a place where I don't know if Errol Spence is even coming back. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what he's doing.
Right. We don't. Yeah, nobody knows for sure. Like I said, it's just people throwing stuff out there. I just don't want it to just hold up the division like it did at 147. I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just keep it moving. Let's keep everything going as is, and not to mention, even though Virgil just became the interim for the WBC, he's actually the number one ranked fighter He's not currently because he can't be ranked anymore because he has a title.
Right.
But he was the number 1 ranked fighter at the WBA. So I think that's why they were really pushing that fight. So I mean, you got Erickson Lubin, who doesn't want to fly over to, but he's a PBC fighter. Again, I'm trying to keep everything in house. There's a couple of fighters here. Maybe Ioannis Tellez, but then people will be questioning who's this guy. Yeah, it's really, it's just tough, bro. It's really a tough road, and they're making it tough again. This division by not accepting fights. And look, they're getting exposed. Hey, you don't want to fight this fight? We're paying you money for this fight. You don't want it? Okay, keep it moving. So we'll see how it works out. Like I said, I think it'll be Bud and Virgil up next, maybe sometime later this year. And then they'll set up that fight for the Fundora winner, Fundora Spence. And if that doesn't happen, I think Fundora will probably look for the rematch with Tim Tszyu if he gets past Matola, whatever it is, right? So if he gets past him, I think they'll set up that rematch, and the winner of that will get the unification because you'll have 2 belts on each side. Well, you know what I mean? So that'll be a good unless Charlo gets in the mix of that. So,
and that's another conversation as well to see what Jamel Charlo is interested in doing if he's trying to make a comeback of some sort and get in the way of some money as well. So, I mean, we'll see. Virgil has options. In my opinion, I ain't gonna lie to you. I think the most legitimate option to me that makes sense is to rematch Bohachuk. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and rematch him. Make it right. Get the win in a way that's undisputable that you got the win, and at that point, you know, that allows everything else in the division to kind of move around, allows Errol Spence and Fundora to figure out what they're going to do, allows Terrence Crawford to figure out what he's going to do, whether or not he's going to fight Sebastian or wait on the winner between them or wait on Virgil Ortiz to get his rematch. Allow Tim Tszyu to iron out his differences with his WBO IBF mandatory issues fighting Bakramov. If he becomes a champion at that point, then maybe even Virgil might consider going another direction and maybe even fighting Tim Tszyu, giving everybody the fight that they thought they were going to get, right? That they thought they were going to get. So salute to Rachel Donaire in the building. Salute, Rachel. And salute TY as well, man. Salute, King. Salute. Yeah, so you know, I mean, we gotta see exactly how it's going to play out, you know what I mean, with Virgil, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Definitely. Yeah, it's a couple of people just walked in the building. I know JR Spock is here. What's going on? J Cash, Money Man. We got Sonny Augustine. We got Mr. Big Play, LaRon Jones. Rachel just walked in. Salute, Queen. TY, Mr. Big Play. Ray, salute. Here for boxing. I didn't greet you earlier. Salute. Champ Ross, what's up? You know what I mean? Just letting you guys know I do see you. You know what I mean? And that we're grateful that you're here. And if you're here and we didn't see you, tone deaf, salute. Make sure y'all hit the like button as y'all enter the building, please. I'm pretty sure that what the day ones did, Clay. So, you know, I mean, this is just the people out there that haven't.
Right. So that's how that worked out. Now for the 147 weight class division, now that Terrence Crawford's gone ahead and vacated those belts, it's going to be interesting to see how that division pans out and how it works out for the champions. I think Jaron Ennis has a goal in mind, obviously, that he's made clear. He wants to become undisputed. I don't know if I've heard the other champions in the division carry the same energy. Obviously, we know that, you know, Jaron's been trying to fight these guys for a minute. And, you know, he didn't bring anything to the table. High risk, low reward. But now he has a title. And more importantly than the title, he now has somebody who's willing to put some money behind him. So these fighters can get paid that premium rate. They're looking to get paid to fight somebody like him. I'm interested in seeing if the division gets motivated and these champions start getting on board to having some unification title fights on the line. I want to see. I mean, we heard Teofimo was trying to make a move and activate some sort of mandatory to challenge Brian Norman. So that's one championship that could be contested, and it would be interesting, honestly, to see Teofimo in the conversation for him to have one of the belts and be involved in some unification title fights in that division. But we also got Mario Barrios, who was supposedly working something out with our boy Manny Pacquiao, but it looked like Manny had a pretty performance in his last performance, and I don't know how serious we're supposed to take that fight now at this point at 147 for Manny. We'll see what he decides to do. I would appreciate if he got out the way and allowed the division to move on and allow these unification title fights to happen. But Mario Barrios is there, and then obviously we have Stanionis, who's been kind of quiet, just re-signing to PBC, and I haven't seen him really active this year except for that fight he had on the Tim Tszyu Fundora card, if I'm correct. He was on a prelim card there. But he's sitting on that WBA title. So I'm interested in seeing who is going to step up and give Duran Ennis that smoke. Who's going to get involved in the conversation of unifying and be the first person that's going to go ahead and give that fade to Duran Ennis? What do you think?
Ooh, I'm glad you said that, because I was just watching Shout Out to Mill City today, and we got an interview with Brian Norman. And not only Brian Norman was on the panel, we had Jalil Hackett also on the panel. And what I heard in that interview is Brian Norman wants all the smoke. He don't care if it's boots. He wants to unify. He wants to go for undisputed. He's speaking undisputed. And he said he don't care. Boots can be first. He don't care. He'll take that fight.
Right.
Then Mills was trying to bring Tio up, and he was like, man, what do you think about Tio? Tio don't want to fight. Tio always talking. So then he said, who did Tio really say he wanted to fight? So Tio's actually calling out Boots. Now,
that would make sense.
So there you go. So there's another fight there for you, right? Now, as far as Jalil Hackett said, what do I got to do to get the fight? He said, well, we won't fight you probably till next year, 2025. This is Senior that said it. He said, so, if we can't get nothing, you in line. But he said, hey, I'll take it. That's fine. He goes, why? What's my problem? He said, well, we looking to unify. He said, well, let me tell you something. I'm going to go over there, beat up on Stanionis and take his belt, and then I'll get in the way. Clay always says, get in the way. You want the fight, get in the way, right? So he said he's going to go get in the way. We're going to make this happen. So it was some good talks. So it looks like it's starting to bubble up over there, and some people are standing up to the big bully over there, Mr. Boots Ennis, and they want to work. They want to get in there and get some smoke, bro.
Well, talk is cheap, and I hope I hope that that's good, expensive talk, that they're willing to back that up with some action, with some contract signing and some dates being set for Boots. Because I'm going to tell you like this: at this point, with Turkey Al-Sheikh in the background, with Eddie Hearn as management, with the zone, with the belts on the line, if they're not going to fight Boots at this point, Boots, in my opinion, truly needs to take some consideration as to what his future is going to look like at 147 and what it might look like better at 154. You know what I mean? He might consider it. He might consider that. It sounds like T.O. is interested in getting involved with the Turkey money. You know what I mean? The money's there for the fighters who have the heart to take the biggest challenges. Because one thing about Turkey is there's no free money with him. All his money is involving very challenging fights that you could very, very well lose. So if guys are willing to step up and get into these dangerous fights and put it on for the fans, then there's probably a bag waiting for them with a Turkey Al-Sheikh. We'll see how that turns out when it comes to that. We'll see also if Teofimo is really got the heart to sidebar.
That's where they won at. Yeah. Right. So one thing that Jalil Hackett did say is, man, Barrios over there at PBC and Stanionis at PBC, but guess what we got? He said, he's telling them, guess what we got? We got this guy. He going to make the fights happen. He don't care where they are. He going to make them cross the street. We're going to get these fights. You at Top Rank. It don't matter. We're going to get these fights. And when we get it on, bro, pause, because I know somebody going to say it. You know what I mean? When we get in the ring, it's going to be fireworks. So he's definitely, I'm telling you, they're making it seem like, you know what I mean, it's going to be good work. And it was gentleman talk, too. There was no arguing, no trying to be the tough guy. They were all respectful to each other, but they was just talking boxing, and it was really serious over there. And I like that. Like I said, it was very controlled and very, very gentlemanly, but they got their point across, both of them. So we're looking forward to any one of those fights, obviously. We definitely want to see where Boots goes on his next turn. We want to see Turkey involved. And at the end of the day, Clay, 47 looked like it's going to turn up. And if he'll get up there, they say he's looking for a payday. That's what they say. He trying to get in line for the payday, and retire. But we'll see. That's what Brian Norman Sr. said. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, we will see. There's an opportunity for the division to turn up. Whether they will or they won't, we'll find out. You know, what I mean, due time. But the opportunity's there. The whole entire conversation about Terrence holding on to the belts and holding the division hostage is yesterday's conversation. Today's conversation is we have champions, not 147, elevated champions. Now that Terrence has vacated all the belts and committed to his journey at 154. I'm interested in seeing how 147 is going to react to it, and I'm sure people like Jaron Ennis. Maybe even all the champions, really, right? Because all of a sudden they're out here talking and doing interviews. They're all interested in the idea of what does that mean for 147 at this point, and where do I fit into that conversation, legacy-wise, but also monetary compensation-wise, right? Like, what kind of money is there out there for us?
Right.
No?
Exactly.
Let's see here. What does it say here? I think Tio can get up to 154 in due time here for boxing. Okay, all right. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? We'll see. T.O. has an opportunity right now, man. He definitely does. Sonny says here in boxing, these so-called boxing fanboys keep pushing Boots. That would be a mistake. The boy is not ready for Bud. Well, I don't think Sonny excuse me. I don't think Boots feels like that about it, but clearly he does have a lot of business hand at 147. I actually saw an interview with Eddie Hearn as well today with Cigar Talk. I don't know if you guys had an opportunity to catch up and see that one. But on that one, Eddie Hearn was saying that he talks to Boots, and Boots most definitely wants that fight with Terrence Crawford. He wants the fight. So, obviously Turkey Al-Shi makes the pot sweet enough. That would help, as far as Terrence Crawford's perspective of the fight is concerned, that would help that happen. But I think that fight looks a lot better under some sort of unification scenario where Boots has earned himself a belt, got himself in the right position, and put himself in a unification title fight, maybe even undisputed. So if Boots really wants to get at Terrence, like I've said before, you got to get in the way. You know what I mean? Get in some other title fights, pick up some of these other belts. Get a fight with Madrimov right now. You know what I mean? Get a fight with Virgil. Get a fight with a winner of a Tim Tszyu and a Bakram Mortaliev. You know what I'm saying? Get in that conversation. You're an IBF champion at 147. See if you can get some sort of mandatory perks at 154 and get in that conversation, get some belts and get in that conversation. And let's see you and Terrence Crawford get into it and have some titles on the line when it happens. TY says, I'm glad you said that because the other day you said Boots don't want to fight. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying, look, TY, I'm not saying that he don't want to fight. I'm just saying as far as a priority is concerned, his priority seems to be 147 over fighting Terrence Crawford. I said it before. I'm pretty sure he does want the fight. Like, I mean, especially with the money, he's there for the fight. He already told Turkey Al-Sheikh send the contract. He's willing to fight, but is he willing to let go of his belts, let go of his status at 147? Is he willing to let go of his daddy's plans for him, his father's plans for him, and go ahead and pursue Terrence Crawford just like that? If he is, then we're here to watch it. But it doesn't seem like it from the outside looking in. It doesn't seem like that's what he's interested in doing. We'll see. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Ross Scott said, guys, remember that this isn't same day weigh-in. Any natural 147 will be too big for T.O. And T.O. isn't any of the past greats who moved up to 146. No doubt. Salute Ross Scott, by the way. Salute. 147. I got you, Ross Scott. No doubt. No doubt. I definitely got you. But yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see 147 come together, man. Everybody should be very motivated in that division right now. Even Jalil Hackett, like you mentioned a little bit earlier, is all in the conversation right now. Went to having like either his first or second 10-round fight a couple of weeks ago against Pete Dobson, and now he's in conversations with Brian Norman, trying to motivate and get himself in title contention with somebody with a fight that looks like it could be made, right? Because Jalil's over at Matchroom. Brian Norman's at Top Rank, but at the same time, it looks like the easiest fight to make. It seems like there's a champion there who really has nobody calling his name except for Teofimo, and Teofimo doesn't seem to be acting on it quick enough. So maybe Jalil Hackett can get himself in a conversation. Maybe they're comfortable. What do you think happens if they get into it? If Jalil and Brian Norman go at it?
I don't know, man. That's an interesting fight. That is interesting because Jalil Hackett actually showed me that he can box. Literally, I was actually skeptical of him stepping up into a 10-round fight. Mm-hmm. The guy's saying he's ready for a championship fight. And did he look ready in his last fight? Absolutely. I don't know.
You think he's eager to get into some title fights?
I was going to say, I mean, he could be jumping in. Yeah, right. Because I think he can be jumping in too soon into the frying pan and get clipped by one of these guys that are at the elite level of the division instead of the above level, and he can get clipped. But we seen him outside the ring. You know what I mean, on the other interview, the dude looked like he a 168 pounds fighter. Like he probably carrying like 180 in his frame because he's what he's like 6 foot, 6'1".
He's like 5'11", 6
That's
foot.
what they say he is, but
Or
he looked
5'10"
he looked taller than that. He looked taller than that. I mean, they say Barrios is 5'10", but Barrios like 6'2". But you know what I mean. But yeah, he definitely looked like he was he could fight at 168 easy. So him coming down, even 150, even 154, very easy. So him coming down to fight a fight like that, and he can do it, and he can put the weight back on and rehydration. We might have a brawl. You know what I mean? We might have two different styles clashing. One boxing and one I don't really want to call Brian Norman a slugger, but I mean I guess he's like in the middle of the ring type boxer to a slick boxer. I mean, that might be.
I mean, he boxes. You know what I'm saying? He's shown that he can box. The fight he had with Santillian or whatever, Santilli. I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but he decided to fight differently. Stand there forehead to forehead, toe to toe. Counter punching and catching shots and staying inside the paint. So he was there to capitalize with his own counter punching. He showed he can do that, but he's also showed that he can box. I wonder who is the better boxer though between Jalil Hackett and Brian Norman.
Definitely Jalil Hackett.
That's what I was. So, and Jalil Hackett having all those attributes, I think I'm gonna tell you what I think. I think Jalil Hackett is getting in the conversation because I don't think Jalil Hackett's future at 147 is going to be much longer. I think he's trying to get involved in some championship fights as soon as he can. And if he doesn't see himself getting involved with some championship fights, then he might consider just going ahead and moving up to 154. It's one of those situations where he's big for the division, man. And like I said, I seen him with that interview with Greg Hackett. Shout out to GHB TV. Greg Hackett over there with that interview he did with Jalil Hackett, where even Greg said, like, you could hardly recognize Jalil. Him completely rehydrated and replenished looks so different than how he looked that night in that fight, in that weigh-in. I mean, it was ridiculous. I'm talking about when you look at it, it was like, oh my God, I don't even know who this guy is. Like, what? Like, it was crazy. Right. So just let you know, no matter how comfortable he's saying he is with those weight cuts, he's taking some real extreme measures to cut that weight. Some real extreme measures.
Yeah, like an NBA basketball on top of his dome, bro. Like
crazy.
House. Yeah.
So I think his team has got to be like, listen, let's get in some title contention. If Brian's willing to give us that fade, let's go ahead and take that. See once we get that IBF, maybe nobody wants to get involved. We'll get in there with Boots. We'll get in there. Nobody wants to fight Boots. We'll get involved for the big payday. At least we're getting involved with Turkey in that conversation. It can end up being a big fight and really catapult us where we need to be at 154. I don't know if he wants to stay for the long run and go for undisputed at 147. All the time that's going to take and all the cross promotion that it's going to take to get that undisputed title status. But at the end of the day, barbecue and mildew, 147 is for me or it's not for me. Let's just go straight in there and try to get these championship fights.
100%.
Let's see here. Oh man. Let's see here what we got in here. But Ross Scott said, believe it or not, some of the prospects are actually ready. These elites right now aren't that great. At 154, 147. We're talking about 147. So, like, who do you see there as a prospect at 147 that can get involved in that conversation at 147 right now? You know what I mean? That'd be interesting to look into. Let me see. Champ, right? We won't know unless they fight. Yeah, 100%. The division has to get going. 147 has to get going, and it seems like it's been stagnant. The last fight I saw at 147 was that fight between Jerome Boots Ennis and David Avanesian, right? Who else? What was the last fight we seen at 147? I mean, is Blair Cobbs going to get
Blair Cobbs, Barrios before that?
Who did Barrios fight?
Barrios had fought what's the name? That I don't even know who it was. It was some dude. It wasn't even a legitimate contender. No, it was a guy. A guy was piecing him up though. Alex Rocha. Most recent fight. Actually.
No, Mario Barrios fought who? No, it wasn't that. He fought the Cuban, man.
No. I said Alex Rocha was the most recent fight.
With Mario Barrios?
Mm-mm. At 147.
At 147. Okay, yeah. Let me see here. Salute to Lance Meyer, man. What's good, family? How you doing, brother? Yeah, 154 stack. Okay, you talking about 147. I mean, I didn't pull it up. I don't know, where 147 is standing right now, outside of obviously the names that we all know about. Fights need to be made, and I don't know. Are these guys going to try to jump into some tune-ups, into some mandatories? Let's fight our mandatories. Let's get that out the way, and then we can start heading down that road of undisputed or title unifications. Or do they jump right into the unification conversation?
Well, unification does trump. I say Boots is probably going to work on a deal with Conor Benn, which is going to be a great fight. People sleeping on Conor Benn. So he's working on the fight with Conor Benn. I think we got our boy Brian Norman probably going to be working on a fight with. Trying to think who's at top rank. It's probably going to be a top ranked fighter at the end of the day. Maybe. Okay, maybe Santiago Dominguez, maybe.
The fights that can be made, but when you're talking about Jerron Boots Ennis,
right?
When you're talking about Mario Barrios,
right? Barrios already got a fight lined up with Pacquiao, apparently, right? So Barrios, maybe he's.
I don't know. Is that fight getting lined up? Because Pacquiao had a horrible performance. But is Pacquiao really trying to still fight Mario Barrios at this point? Does he still think he got it? I don't know. He didn't look good in that exhibition he had.
Right. So here's what I think happens. Mario Barrios don't take that fight. He's going to be fighting Roman Villa. They'll be fighting Roman Villa because they're both on the PBC card. Then you have Stanionis, also PBC. Maybe they try to unify that fight. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be. But I think he fights someone else on the PBC. I don't see anybody that's standoutish. Blair Cobb.
I mean, Tio for sure, Sean. I mean, let's see what Tio does. But I mean, that's a conversation. Tio was talking about either Brian Norman or maybe Boots Ennis. I don't know how seriously to take Tio. Is this something? I mean, Tio normally is serious when he say he want to fight somebody. When given the opportunity, he fights him. So maybe that's the big fight that Jerron Ennis is looking to get involved in. Maybe him and Tio is the fight to be made right now. But once again, Tio putting a lot on the line without no titles, and Jerron Ennis could actually probably benefit off of Tio fighting a Brian Norman. If he wins that fight, bring that title to the table. This is about the fastest way to undisputed, because Jerron Ennis is missing out on opportunities at 154 as long as he's sitting at 147 the way he is. 154 has a lot of opportunities there for him. So I would think he's trying to get on the A train, the fastest thing, you know what I'm saying? Fastest thing to Midtown. I'm saying, let's get this Uptown. Let's get these damn belts. Hurry up, get them out the way, and let's get over that 154 and start getting in that conversation for potentially the hottest division in the game right now. You know what I mean? So maybe let Tio go ahead and fight Brian Norman. If he's able to beat Brian Norman, then boom, you got a WBO title. Let's have a unification fight. Let's get Turkey involved. Let's get some money in it. Let's put Tio on his first pay-per-view headline. You know what I'm saying? Let's get him involved in it. Let's see if his fan base means anything. And barbecue. Let's get that title fight, and then we can start, giving. Now we have 2 titles over here with Jerron Ennis. So now we have money. We got 2 titles. Come on, Mario. Come on, Stanionis, and come here and try to build some legacy with me.
Oh yeah, we got the Irish. We got Paddy Donovan. That'll be a fight for Stanionis. I'm saying there's some fights that can move around while we're building up for these unifications. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys just got their titles, so I don't think they're quick to relinquish them. So they're probably going to get a couple of fights in. I could see Stanionis and Barrios unifying first on their end, you know what I mean, on their side of the street, as they call it. And then, you get Jerron Boots Ennis and maybe Norman or Tio, or, you know what I mean, somehow, some way, miraculously fighting on their end. And then winners of those guys go unify the other 2 titles with the other 2 the winner of the other 2 fighters. That can work.
Yeah, man, get active. Let's see what 147 is going to do, man. They need to get active. There's no doubt about it. They got to get active, man. They really, really need to get active. There's no excuses no more at this point. Terrence ain't there no more. You know what I'm saying? It's over. Ain't no more excuses at this point.
Right. I will say there's Earl going, and both of them held up the division. I'm not going to lie to you. They both held up the division, trying to make this fight happen between them, and not knowing that they're moving up, whatever the case may be. So now this opportunity for these guys to make it happen. Boots. I don't know if Boots did it on purpose, but he made himself look human. You know what I mean? So now
you talking about David Ebenezer?
Yeah. So by doing that, maybe he got some bread. Maybe he got opportunity now because people are like, oh well, if he can hit him like that, I can. Whatever the case may be, people start to see stuff, and I know he's going to be lining up something with Conor Benn. I just got a feeling.
I mean, look, ain't no time to hang out, man. Ain't no time to hang out. That's all I'm saying. Forget hanging out. Get towards some unification. Do not sit there and just play around in that damn division right now. It's just, I don't know. I mean, maybe Turkey, and I'm sure Turkey's going to get involved with the conversation as well, because I'm sure Turkey is very motivated to get Boots inside of that conversation with Terrence Crawford as soon as possible and put those big fights together. So sitting there fighting fights that ain't got no kind of real reward to it except for a little bit of money, and John Boots Ennis is on like a 3-fight contract with Eddie Hearn in Matchroom. So you better make the most out of it. Don't let this dude give you, fight 2-3 bums, make a little bit of money, and then maybe decide to move along and go somewhere else for the big fights that we know are there for him. You know what I mean? There's pressure there for big fights to come out of 147, especially in the conversation of John Ennis. Shout out to Rollo Green in the building. Devin said he back Mario Paro and Rayo should be his next fight. Okay, Devin said he's back. Okay. That's also interesting. Is if Devin is going to stay at 140, that's one conversation. But if he decides to come to 147, that adds to the conversation up there as well. Big fights that can get coordinated up there with him in there. Roscott said, guys, Boots was on a long layoff fighting a non-puncher. You have to get in there and take punches to get back into the groove. Hence, the reason is it's a tune-up. Okay, no doubt. I understand that, Roscott. That's for sure.
Right.
I definitely understand that. Let me see here. I appreciate and enjoy any convo about Boots that doesn't revolve around Crawford, because this convo is the reality. Yeah, man. Listen, I'm over here talking about Boots at 147. He says he wants to become undisputed. He says, and once again, so did Bozy. Bozy said they want to hurry up and clean up the division so they can go to 154 and start chasing undisputed up there. So, the fastest way between 2 points is a straight line. And sitting out there and having little fights with even a Conor Benn or, anybody who doesn't have any type of belts is kind of like going against the, what I'm saying? It kind of goes against the whole idea of what they said they want to do. That's how I look at it.
Right.
See, Rollo said Boots versus Devin will be the biggest talk of 2025 if Dev takes Mario's belt at 47. That would be a good fight. If he can get involved with Mario Barrios and pull off that WBC title off his waist, huge fights there for Devin Haney at 147 with any of those guys. Teofimo's obviously up there ready, clearly with Terrence Crawford as well, and the other champions as well. He can get involved in that conversation. And Devin looks very beatable, so a lot of people will probably try to take advantage of him. If he was to get a belt, I'm sure a lot of fighters up there would get motivated to fight against Devin, just on the strength of how he looked against Ryan Garcia in his last fight. You know what I mean? Rollo says, does Dev stay at 140 because the Dev haters are going to press him to fight Boots? Rollo, it's a great question. You know what I mean? I personally don't think so. I ain't going to lie to you. I think when Dev comes back, I expect him to come at probably fighting a catchweight fight, his first or second fight, fighting a catchweight fight, and then ultimately, making his big introduction to 147. That's what I see. What do you think, Rob?
I think he waits to see if whoever the winner is for the WBC title, so that way when he gets his purse, it's not like a cheap purse. So he stays at 140 for a few more fights, tries to unify there and take advantage of maybe undisputed again, or just taking the chance at unification and then moving up. Listen, a lot of these guys at 140 are not going to jump into the frying pan at 147. Seems like they are. The problem is Boots Ennis. He's a rangy, strong, long-armed fighter, which gives him and he has power. You know what I mean? Like, he has power. He has the ability to box. He has the ability to slug. he can hurt a lot of these guys moving up. So I don't think they're all ready to jump in the frying pan. Some of them may be forced to, but I don't think that's the case. I also see that Regis might even come out and try to get into the mix of the WBO if Teal moves up. He might try to get to that conversation, and that may be talks if he does move up and drops the belts, and him and Catterall could be fighting for a title somehow, some way. That can change things, and that can actually proclaim a Devin rematch for a unification. So it's a lot of things that can happen there.
Yeah, no doubt. And salute to Left Hook Lazy 232. I don't know if I've ever seen you in the chat before, so welcome to the channel. If this is your first time, and if you've been here before, I'm sorry I missed you. But let's see what he said here. He said, I don't believe Haney will ever be the same after that defeat. I mean, time will tell, right? He definitely can, one or two things can happen from that defeat, right? Either A, he gets better from it, learns. If we see Devin Haney come out with a new trainer and things of that nature, or making the proper changes he needs in his training regimen and his team, then I'll be interested in seeing what that looks like in the ring, especially at 147. If he lets it break him and becomes gun shy and all of a sudden he doesn't want to get hit, then it could look bad for him as well, right? So, but only time will tell that. We don't know what's going to happen at the end of the day, Left Hook. But him at 147, that definitely would be an interesting fight. You know what's hilarious to me? Like last year around this time, there were conversations when people were entertaining, like, what would Devin Haney look like against Boots Ennis? And people were like, basically like, you're being ridiculous. They were treating it like the same conversation of Terrence Crawford going up to fight Canelo Alvarez, right? They were like, this dude is too small. He's a little guy. He's not going to be able to perform up there. And now look at us actually entertaining a real fight between him and Boots. And actually, like Roscott said, looking at it to be a competitive fight. That would be interesting. You know what I'm saying? The boxing is there. It's always going to be the punching power that we're always going to question with Devin Haney. Let's see what he's been able to work on his little hiatus that he's had, what he's been able to work at. And don't forget, eventually, Ryan Garcia will be back in a conversation on the second half of next year, and probably at 147. So that division, could see a lot of shine, around that time period. Let's see here. Miguel, let me see. Hold on. Roscott Khalil. But it remains to be seen. 100% Roscott, and here for boxing, Miguel Cotto recovered from a forward speed from Margarito. Dev will be cool, no doubt. That's a good example. We got to see what Devin is really made of. Roscott said Haney didn't take a beating. This is more mental. Spence took a beating. Word. Let's see. Left Hook says, I've been here. Not sure if I commented before, but thank you. I appreciate the welcome. No doubt, Left Hook. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if you've been in the chat and I just ain't keep you, my bad. But, you're always welcome here for sure, man. Roscott for boxing. Actually, Cotto wasn't the same. He fought the right fights. Let me see. Rollo Green says, I don't think he needs a new trainer. They've just got to prove he can fight when needed. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, Rollo, if I agree with that 100%. Like, I don't know if he needs a brand new trainer, like get rid of Bill Haney, but I don't know, man. I do feel like he could benefit off of another set of eyes, and also another set of permanent eyes. It's time for him to find the number 2 or number 3, whatever you want to call it, guy that's going to be there. He needs his Kenny Ellis. You know what I'm saying? He needs that guy who's going to work on him on those fundamentals that he was slipping on. Bill Haney, I just don't think is really built to handle all of that at this point. Devin Haney's getting into the biggest fights of his life. He's going to be in more danger than he's ever been in the ring against a lot of puncher boxers. He doesn't have the advantage that he had before, right? The height and the long arms, and he doesn't have it like he did before. He's going to have to actually start working a little bit differently, in my opinion. So I think a different set of eyes could definitely benefit him, and definitely a set of eyes that are going to be there permanently, not just real quick fix, get him a win, and the next fight he's out there doing a bunch of mistakes. You know what I mean?
Listen,
we'll see what happens.
People gonna hate me for saying this, but even Sugar Ray he lost his fight to Duran. Nobody seen it coming. So listen, the guy can bounce back, and he can show us a different type of animal. He can show that he's more fierce, more stronger. He can show us that he's capable of boxing, show us more hand speed. Devin used to have all those things when he was fighting back in the early days before he slowed down and started focusing on different tactics. If he gets back into that mode of Devin at 2019, we got a whole new kid in the bag. I mean, I think the biggest shock was when he got clipped by Linares. And when Linares clipped him, he changed his game plan. He started filtering off of that. And now that I think he's been through the turmoil and of losing, even though it came back and they wiped it off his record. This here changes who he is. Now he's going to change. He's going to train different. He's going to be different. He's going to try to fight different. And hopefully he makes the right decisions and makes the right choices when he's in the ring. You know what I mean? And keeps his head, to keep his hand up and keeps his head off the line, which he used to do.
No doubt, no doubt. Let's see here. Left Hook says here, I'm finding it funny people were surprised that Crawford vacated the 147-pound titles. I don't know why they would think that. I found it pretty obvious that Terrence was done with the division. Yeah, Left Hook, people are going to try to paint it the way, how the space is, I hate to say it that way, that I've been desensitized and I'm just so used to it, but people are just going to speak from that. They're going to have that tonality, right? Like Terrence Crawford is just holding on to the belts just to be a nuisance, just to block some sort of movement in the division. They're never going to want to tap into the energy that, look, man, the dude had reasons to hold the belt. And when you look at it, it just makes sense from my point of view. And that's all I can speak from is my point of view. Him holding it onto that belt gave him a backup plan A and also gave him all the leverage he used at 154 to get into the title contention fight with Sebastian Fundora as far as that WBO mandatory is concerned, and even put him in position to have some weight. When you think about a fighter like Terrence, who they try to duck whenever they get a chance, whatever he has on his side to bring to the table as vested interest and make big fights, he's going to keep them until they manifest into the fights he's looking to get involved with. And now that he's at 154, has that WBA strap around his waist, he's sitting on that interim WBO title that looks like it can go up into a full title anytime within the next few months, depending on how the negotiations go between Sebastian Fundora and Errol Spence. At this point, he has no use for what's going on down there. I'm sure he was more than happy to let those belts go and stop having people call him out and trying to put pressure on him to come down to 147 to compete. Anybody who didn't see that coming just, wanted to see the worst in Terrence Crawford. That's it. Yeah, Richard Paris in the building. You see Richard Paris in a minute. Devin will struggle against athletic guys, especially athletic guys his size or larger. Oh, yeah, man. It'd definitely be way more competitive.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think he'll struggle. Sorry, go ahead, Clay. I don't know what you were saying.
Yeah, it'll definitely be more competitive for sure. I mean, That makes sense. I mean, look what happened when Terrence Crawford went up to 154 and got in the ring with an athletic guy like Israel Madrimov, right? Way more competitive fight. But this is where these guys get the opportunity to separate themselves from the other fighters and show that they're special fighters, right? They get to adjust and make certain adjustments that show why they are who they are. Hard fights are definitely ahead of Devin Haney. Hard fights are there and waiting for him. Big challenges await him, and big opportunities also await him to show the world who he really is by having those right dancing partners in the ring with him, without a doubt.
Right.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Ray?
You actually took words out of my mouth. Actually, I was going to say, you know what? He needs the harder fights. He needs to understand that the competition is going to be exactly what that is. Just because he's moving up or he has fighters that are up to the task. I'm pretty sure he understands that. You know what I mean? Like when he first started, he was equal with everybody in the same division. He just had the abilities, right? So now everything comes to fruition where you start timing yourself out, just like Bud did, right? So yeah, it's going to be more challenging. But this is where the boxing skill comes to play. So does he show his boxing skills, and does that become more of an elite factor to the other guys that are just as athletic? Because I think boxing kind of counters the athleticism in some of the in the square circle. Right.
Man, I agree with you 100%, man. 100%. Let me see. Shout out Ryan Frazier. Yo, Ryan Frazier, salute, King. I think somehow there was a cross feed error or something. You let me know. But I saw Just Do Boxing. It looked like Just Do Boxing was on your show. Like you were doing a little bit of a live, but it was like one person inside of the live. I go in there to go do a live. I see Just Do in there, and then simultaneously Just Do shooting a show on his own channel. And I don't know if the feeds got crossed or whatever, or if you're aware of anything that I'm talking about. But it was hilarious earlier today watching a show on your. It was crazy. I don't know if you even know what I'm talking about. But it just seemed like there was a live going on earlier. I bet you if you look on your feed, you'll see that you had a live going on earlier. It was crazy. But anyway, salute to you. You said, what up, fellas? Brian Norman Jr. elevated. Has Barrios been elevated yet? Yeah, Barrios been elevated. Yeah, remember they took Terrence Crawford and they made him a champion in recess, and they elevated Mario Barrios up to a full champion. But from what I understand, anybody who had a belt at 147 should be a regular champion at this point.
Right.
In Jersey, like everybody, right?
Right. Stanionis, everybody. Everybody has a title.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see how that looks. Sonny Augustine, Devin needs to work more on his defense and learn how to pick his spots better. 100% Sonny, but let's remember Devin was that fighter before that fight. That Ryan Garcia fight, I know a lot of people think it exposed so much about him, and maybe it did expose some things, but I just think that people should remember that he did not fight like Devin Haney that fight. That wasn't Devin Haney the normal Devin Haney that we're used to seeing in that ring that night. That was a Devin Haney trying to prove something, who went out of his comfort zone and really put himself in a very vulnerable position by trying to box and trying to punch and trade punches and get into a melee with somebody with a left hook like Ryan Garcia. You know what I mean? I think he's a lot more defensively sound. And if you really look back at the history of how he fights, he's usually been pretty responsible with his defense and usually been very responsible with controlling that distance and not putting himself in a space where he can catch the shots that he was catching against Ryan Garcia. But definitely, I agree with you. He needs to approach boxing. He needs to reverse the identity crisis. Know who he is, be who he is, be the best version of himself that he can be, and that will give him the most success in the division. You know what I mean? Nobody else. Don't compete with Tank with what Tank does. Don't compete with Shakur with what Shakur does. Be Devin, because what Devin does is a problem for a lot of fighters all in the game. What do you think?
And I just think that you hit the nail on the head again. A lot of situations is people think that he went in there with the plan that's how he fights. No, he actually listened to the fans, and I think he is going to make that adjustment of not falling victim to listening and trying to please the fan base just because he was in a circle trying to compete with Tank Davis. Yes, I'm going to say he was trying to compete with the market for Tank Davis because he felt that he was just as big as a fighter and he can just do the same thing, and he can fight Ryan at a full weight, no weight cut, none of this, none of that, and he can go in there and do what he had to do, and even melee with him, which was even crazier. And he found out the hard way. You know what I mean? And guess what? He got up out of there. And when you go back and watch all Ryan Garcia's fights, nobody got up from those shots. This guy got up 3 times, possibly 4 because it was a 4th knockdown, but they didn't call it. But he got up on all of them. So when we look at these things, we have to look at, hey, listen, hopefully he learned from those mistakes. Hopefully he doesn't listen to people. Hopefully he trains better, and he definitely takes the fights more seriously.
No doubt. Let me see here. Let's see. Fans are silly. Crawford needed the title. Yeah, man. You know what I mean? They don't understand, why he held on to those titles and why it was so easy for him to link. No doubt. Ross Clot, 100%, bro.
Got it, Clay.
You already did it?
Yep.
All right, cool. Let's see here. Let's read up on here. Let me see. Left hook. Haney really took the worst beating, man. That fight should have been stopped. I'm not sure he'll recover. We'll see, left hook. We'll see, man. Time will tell that story better than any of us could guesstimate or figure out. That's a fact. Let's see. Aralo says, don't forget Devin's defense broke CompuBox records in his lineal title bout. Yeah, man. The man knows how to fight that way, man. We got to stop acting like all of a sudden he's this dude who's just there to be hit. That's not who Devin and Haney normally is. Salute Ross Clout. What's good with your family?
What's good? Hey, real quick, I just want to say one thing real quick, and I won't stay on long. And this is so old news. And I think a lot of us, in my opinion, and a lot of us keep saying Haney did the wrong thing. He didn't fight the right fight. He didn't fight the right fight. For all we know, he actually did fight the right fight. He didn't know he was in there with someone that was on pads. He didn't know he was in there with someone who was stronger than he usually is, faster than he usually is, more hyper, more energetic than he usually is. For all we know, if that was a regular version of Ryan Garcia, Haney probably was fighting the right fight. We don't know because he was in there with someone who tested positive for pads. Number 2, we don't know if the boxing would have worked anyway against this guy that's really fast. We don't know. Haney probably did fight exactly the fight that needed to be fought, except he was fighting a guy that was cheating. And I think everybody keeps saying he took a beating. He's not the same. He took more of a mental beating because he didn't get beat up too bad. That fight was still competitive, minus the knockdown, people, minus the knockdowns. That fight was still competitive. That being said, if it was still competitive after all those knockdowns, how would that fight look if this guy wasn't on the pads? That's where my thing is with that.
Right. Can I ask you a question? Actually, what was my question?
Well, while you try to figure out,
go ahead.
Response real quick and just say, we'll never know. Ron Scott will never know. But I'll say this, as far as Devin Haney fighting the wrong or the right fight, I don't know if it was necessarily about him fighting the wrong fight all the way as much as it's Devin Haney wasn't fighting his fight. The fight that we expected him to do, the fight that we know he can fight, he didn't apply that. And that was just a response to the person who was saying that he needs to work on his defense. And I'm like, well, Devin Haney has shown you that he has sound defense. He knows how.
No, my comments wasn't to you guys, Clay. It was just in general.
I know. As far as my perspective, I don't think you were talking to us. You know what I'm saying? But I was just kind of like saying as far as the difference between the wrong fight and his fight. You know what I mean?
Okay. So my question was, do you not think that he pumped his own, drunk his own Kool-Aid rather, when he thought that he was hurting Regis and he thought that he can actually just get a little bit stronger and put on more muscle in the division and come back in a rehydration the way he was, where it cost him those shots? He thought he could stand toe to toe and take the shots at 140 from Ryan Garcia.
I mean, it's possible. Think about it. All of us were saying he's a weight bully, and people were still calling him a weight bully at 140. So if he goes up to 147, is he a weight bully again? Because he's gonna rehydrate still up to like 160. So to answer that question, I don't know. But all I know, what I do know, is he fought someone that was on PEDs, and there's nothing we could change about that.
Can I interject for 1 second? What's up, my man? And I want to say what's up to the panel. Claymore, it's always a pleasure for having me on. Is my mic and audio okay? Everything sounds good?
Great, brother. You sound great. Picture looks good. Mic sounds good.
To my man right here, to one of his points, I was sitting here thinking about what he was explaining, and quickly I started to think, when you're talking about why did he look in his performance against Ryan Garcia and that you can't give him credit, Ryan being on PEs, you got to take this into consideration. Devin Haney, leading into that fight, the entire post interviews going into the fight, he said, all you are is a left check hook and you're a quitter. He knew exactly what Ryan Garcia's best weapon was. He was screaming at him in the first round, in the first sequence. He gets caught with what? A left check hook. What were you working on? You have to take away from Devin Haney. He knew all the answers to the test, and you failed the test miserably. That means you didn't study. That means you underestimated your opponent. That's shame on you. PE aside, because as we all know, yeah, you can take a PE. It can make you stronger, whatever, but it doesn't make your hands fly as it's supposed to. And let's say that I'm pretty sure there's been fighters in the world that beat the shit out of fighters on PEs. So I'm not just gonna that's when I don't have an answer to Devin Haney's not showing up. I'll just quickly say PEs. But I have to look at Devin Haney's side of the street. He didn't show up in that fight. That no moment in that fight did he look good. It looked like little brother fighting little brother, big bro. And whenever big bro got tired, he turned his back and little brother would just punching him. And whenever he wanted to, he would turn around and beat the shit out of him. So neither Ryan Garcia's training was even get good either. At the end of the fight, it was his first words. My performance was shit. My training was shit. Ryan Garcia said, right? Because he was gassed out in the fight. Because if Ryan Garcia had a little bit more, he closes the show. And it goes to show me, I know who Devin Haney is. He's a remarkable talent. He came up as a 19-year-old kid, punking Loma. He's a remarkable talent. He got shut down. And he didn't know
Ryan Garcia couldn't close the show because he's not that talented.
No, his training sucked. He wasn't in condition. Every time he wanted to take a break, he would go like this against the ropes and just let Devin Haney hit him so he could catch his breath.
And
a better fighter would have got Ryan out of there. Ryan was fatigued. That speaks to your training.
Right. But we don't know because he was on PEDs.
and also,
what I know out of his mouth, he said after the fight, first words out of his mouth, my performance sucked. I know my training sucked. I know that my stamina didn't hold up. That's what he said. Against Tank Davis, he was in the best shape of his life. And people try to say he was weight drained. No, Ryan Garcia, he actually had to work out. He actually had to work out to fight Tank Davis with that 10-pound rehydration claw. And then they want to scream when he loses, I was dehydrated. No, you weren't. You were in the best shape of your life. But since people said you had abs and you look skinny, bro, you rehydrated on fight night just as well. You moved just as good. Ryan Garcia was so confident, but Tank Davis, by dropping him, is what dropped that killer. But Devin Haney, you got to look at his performance.
I did. We did. Everyone looked at his performance. It still doesn't change the fact that he fought someone on PEDs. I don't care about the performance. He fought a cheater. How come no one doesn't understand that? He fought a cheater.
Exactly. I agree. I ain't gonna lie. I gotta agree with Ross Cloud. And I understand what you're saying.
It makes a lot of sense.
Like, I really understand what you're saying. Like, as far as, and I'm sure Devin Haney needs to be held accountable for the way he performed.
He needs to.
He put himself in position. But no matter how that fight looked, you can't. You can't remove the PEDs from it, like the PEDs.
No. I never removed them and I never injected them. That wasn't part of my conversation.
Right.
My conversation was based on Devin Haney's performance. We know Ryan Garcia popped positive. We know he got the year ban. We already know that.
So
what did Devin Haney do? What did he do?
Edwin, real quick question. So let me ask you a question. When you're boxing and you're a fighter and you turn your back on a fighter in the corner, what does the ref usually do?
He says don't hit behind the back.
No, you're basically giving yourself up. That actually becomes a knockdown. They never scored any knockdowns for Ryan turning his back to the fighter. It's not like he turned. No, he fully turned his back. Like
what gets determined is the rule states when the fighter has to determine if you did it in a manner that you were avoiding because of fear or that you needed a break, where he makes a decision for you to give you a standing A count. If the referee doesn't deem that the situation wasn't merit an A count, it's up to his discretion. It's not a mandatory thing. As soon as you turn your back up, standing A count. No, it's not mandatory. It's up to the discretion of the ref.
He did it for at least 20 to 30 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like he did it like, I'm just going to hide here,
He was out of breath.
Okay, so that means that he turned his back, right? He showed himself to be in the defensive cradle and non-retaliative on punches that was coming in, right? So usually in that case, they usually call it a knockdown, usually, or they give him an account. First they warn him. Believe it or not, they actually warn him first. They usually give him warning.
Yeah.
Let's be fair, but none of that was ever assessed.
Right. Again, instead, what I saw was Devin Haney going down a few times and the referee not counting them as knockdown. But I seen that.
That happened once.
That was the one he fell on his knees. I did say that.
Happened.
Just talked about that.
I seen that. I mean, about Ryan turning his back, that was up to discretion. But I literally seen Devin Haney drop 2 or 3 times in that fight, and it wasn't counted. So
the fight was still competitive, though, even though there were knockdowns.
Right.
It wasn't a blowout.
What round was it competitive in? Which one?
The rounds where there wasn't a knockdown.
That Ryan Garcia was taken off because his training sucked.
That doesn't matter. He still lost the rounds.
It doesn't matter.
You guys are right. You know why? Because that's not Devin Haney's fault that he didn't train well. But it speaks.
Who didn't train well?
Ryan Garcia didn't train well. Ryan Garcia
he trained. No, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. He trained for this fight. I'll never believe fighters saying he didn't train. He trained.
You even admit on one hand he was gassing out, turning his back on the ropes, and then you're gonna say on the next hand,
he trained for it. I just said he's not that good. He's not that good. That's why he was on base.
But also, let's add. Wait. let's add to the fact that Ryan Garcia had that silly show he was doing that against Oscar Duarte as well. Was he not in shape in that fight? That's not him being tired. That's how he fights. That's how he's decided.
Thank you.
No. If you actually want, he used it for 2 reasons. But if you actually want to know the original, what happened, the person that turns into a Felicio fighter was King Davis. He broke 2 of his ribs. Those ribs never healed properly. That's the same side he covers. When he goes to turn, if you notice, I dare you, go back the Oscar one and the Devin. He only turns to one side. He protects the ribs that both got broken by Tank. He goes this way. He never turned, not once, the opposite way.
But I'm gonna say,
at the end of the day, he's a cheating scumbag.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this. I want to say
exactly, this. Man. I think y'all looking past that. That's crazy. Like,
right? No, we're not looking.
Nobody.
He's a cheating scumbag. Period.
Wait, don't come in here adding words. No one said we were looking past it. It was never brought up. In my thing, I think he's a piece of shit for it. I think that the win was overturned. I don't like fucking. He got sentenced. He got a year. He should have got more. The fact that he couldn't prove where it came from, I don't give a fuck. They should have gave him 2 years. He's a piece of shit for it. You can kill someone in the ring on PEs. That's nothing to joke about. That is nothing to play with.
Okay.
I'm just talking about what happened with Devin. And everybody keeps bringing it back to cheating as Ryan.
So what happened? Well, we bring it back to cheating as Ryan because that's what happened in the fight.
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you. He fought a cheating scumbag. Period.
What I'm saying
he fought someone cheating. Period.
What I'm saying is we bringing it back to that because Devin fought a guy who didn't make weight intentionally and also cheated by taking PEDs. So it's a very much so tainted fight.
Right, and the California Boxing Athletic Committee had a board, and they used Devin Haney as an example of a man being a weight bully his entire career, and they're thinking about implementing a 10-pound rehydration clause because, in particular, of one fighter, Devin Haney, that your name was brought up in a rule changing. They were using you as an example. They didn't find you guilty, but they were using you as an example, and they used the fight with you against Regis Progress. Not only did you come over 13 pounds over the weight limit, but an additional 14 pounds over the exceeding weight limit. Okay.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
You treat like to the worst. That's like when you get pulled over by a state trooper and the speeding limit was 50.
We know you've been pulled over by.
Can I ask you a question? Is Benavidez a weight bully?
Benavidez?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Is Benavidez a weight bully at 168? Is he a weight bully at 168?
Kind of. Yeah, because he's a big man. He could make 170. He should have been fighting bigger, but that's a common thing in boxing.
Okay, I know. So do you give the same energy that you're giving Haney to Benavidez?
They're different situations.
You didn't
do that his entire career.
Edwin, David Benavidez, Canelo Alvarez told a reporter that the only thing David Benavidez brings the night of the fight is 25 pounds. That's the same scenario as what Devin Haney is supposedly been doing to fighters in his career, right? Bringing 25 pounds. The bottom line is this is part of boxing. This has always been happening. Devin Haney didn't invent this. This is what he's allowed to do. He's worked inside the rules. California State Athletic Commission were having conversations about doing something about it. They didn't implement any laws. There were no laws on paper that Devin Haney violated. He broke no laws or broke any rules in the way he carried himself in making the fight happen. So we can't treat that, and we can't bring that up in a conversation where somebody's talking about what Ryan Garcia did, which was completely illegal, right? Now, I also want to say that I agree with you. Devin Haney has things that he did wrong in that fight. He did things wrong. You know what I mean? He let that right hand get low, and he allowed himself to get clipped with the left hook. He did things that were wrong in the fight. He can be held accountable in that way. The night of the fight when Devin Haney lost the fight, and before we knew that Ryan Garcia was on PEDs, all we did was hold him accountable. Like, man, he fought, you know what I mean? The way he fought, before we knew there was PEDs involved in the conversation, Devin Haney was held accountable for it. Nobody's saying that the only reason Devin Haney lost was because of Ryan Garcia's use of PEDs, but at the same exact time, we can't act like the PEDs cannot be factored in to his loss as well. Part of Ryan Garcia's makeup of who he was in the ring that night. His physical presence in that ring was affected by performance enhancing drugs there to enhance his performance. So that's a fact.
Exactly. And it's not just that, brother. And it's not just that. Also, you have to put in account too is even before we knew that this guy failed a drug test, he intentionally came into the fight overweight. Not just not 0.5 pounds, not 0.2 pounds, not 0.3 pounds, not 0.5, not half a pound. He came 3 full pounds or more overweight at the weigh-in, which is a no-no in boxing. That's disrespectful, and also most of the time, most fights get like shut down because of that. You know, and the fact that he came in intentionally overweight. This is before the drug thing that tainted the fight already. Like, because that's is disrespectful. It's disrespectful to the sport. So the fact that he came in not just a little bit overweight, he came intentionally overweight by a lot, by multiple pounds.
Okay, gentlemen, when we talk about facts and we talk about situations, okay, so we're in agreement that Ryan Garcia cheated and there was a disadvantage or whatever, okay, and I'm in agreement with myself that I gotta hold Devin Haney for accountability. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe there was 2 men in that ring, not just one. So, that being said, my proof that Devin Haney couldn't deal with this, it was right in front of my face. I should have saw this a long time ago. I remember I watched the sparring footage with Tank Davis and young Devin Haney, and then they leaked the footage all over the internet. The one thing that it was evident in that video, that when Tank Davis decided to go forward, Devin Haney couldn't deal with his power or his pressure. It was the same thing like Ryan Garcia, and I should have known it from way back then. It showed his flaw. Tank Davis exposed him in that ring. It was the one where AB jumped in and grabbed Devin because he was shaking and he thought he was going to kill him. It was that video. Go check it out. And he exposed Devin Haney in that ring. Not one time in the entire spar session after Tank Davis went forward did Devin Haney come off with any counter punching or push forward. It's because Tank Davis led off of him.
So
how was he exposed when he lost once? He only lost one fight. How was he exposed when he lost one fight?
Okay, excuse me.
Hold on a second. Let me shout out J Pit City. J Pit City says Canelo fans made up weight bullying. I ain't hearing ish about weight bullying when Canelo fought 6'3" Callum Smith. Facts. Weight bullying is weight bullying is you know what I'm saying? It's not against the rules what they're doing, and until it's against the rules, I'm not holding that against anybody. I'm not trying to hear about
actually an art. It's actually an art. It's actually an art. Cutting weight is an art. Not every man and woman can cut weight the same. And just because I can cut weight and perform, that shouldn't be held against me. God made me this way.
Exactly.
But what about when someone intentionally cuts weight or intentionally don't cut weight? They intentionally don't.
Been around for a long time.
They intentionally don't make weight so they can have that.
My guys. Punching in the ball is illegal, but it's part of the game. And if you need a break, punch the dude in the balls.
No, bro.
Yeah, of course. Let me respond to J Pit City real quick before I go. Let me respond to J Pit City real quick.
Hold on. All right,
let me respond to J Pit City real quick, y'all.
Go ahead, Rod Scott.
So J Pit City, shout out to J Pit City. No, actually, weight bullying been talked about way before the Canelo and Benavidez. There was a lot of weight bullying going on way before that. Joshua Clottey was a weight bully. Paul Williams was a weight bully. Weight bullying, we've been talking about that. It's just social media's around now, so you seeing more comments and all that. So weight bullying been around for a while, JP City. Salute everybody. I'm gonna be listening.
All right.
No doubt. Yo, listen. Hold on. Wait, listen. I'm gonna bring some people up in here. We got people who want to get in here, but I haven't been letting people up here because we're talking over each other. And the last thing I need is 4 more people up here that's talking over each other in this conversation. So we need to get statements out, wait patiently, allow people to respond, let people speak who haven't spoken in a while. We need to find a way to melt that all in together, or I gotta like turn this into like only 2 people up here at a time. You know what I mean? Like 2 other people up here at a time, which I can do that as well. But I'd rather everybody just be adults about the situation so we can all speak and actually get out, because it's a decent conversation. But talking over each other is we're not gonna get where we're trying to get to.
All
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
And let me do this. While you said that, I was actually going there. I was going to say, if you have any notes to take or notebook something, write it down on your phone, whatever you got to do. I'm going to let everybody speak. I'm going to moderate it. I'm going to give everybody the mic. I'm going to pass it around so that way we're not jumping over top of each other and being erratic with our conversation, because we want it controlled. So I hope you guys don't mind, but we're going to bring everybody up. We're going to start with probably the new guys first, and then we'll come back to you two.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna bring everybody in the building. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my guy, right? Yo,
that's good.
Ryan Frazier. Did you see what I'm talking about when I was saying about looking like there was a live on your channel today with just
there was. Honestly, when I was looking at my screen, like from looking in here, there was there was a thing up in the right hand corner that said you could send it to your channel. So I was like, oh shoot, let me hit that. And I hit it, and I guess it went live on my channel too, which is pretty cool.
Oh, I went live on your channel today, but I didn't see you. It never popped up.
Oh, for real? Oh man, yeah.
It was like a live waiting. It was live. I was waiting, and it just kept going. It didn't bring me to you.
Oh shoot. Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know what happened then, but I tried it out. I guess it didn't work.
Yeah.
It was weird. I was like, hold on. I was like, just do on here, and I even put in the chat. I said, yo, where my guy Ryan Frazier at? And then it detached from them, right? So they couldn't see it. It was just weird. But anyway, good to see you, brother. Yeah. I'm gonna bring in frequent fly up here and boxing hacker up here as well.
What's up, Ryan, man?
What's going on, round one, man? Appreciate you.
We got everybody in the building right now. Check it out. Listen to the rules. Listen, guys. I'm telling you, please don't make this complicated. Please. So we got 7 people up here right now. Everybody wants to get in and speak their mind. And I want to hear everybody's perspective on this conversation. Ray's going to pass the mic. It's going to be your turn to speak. Get it all out. What you don't get out, save it for your next turn around and let the
next
person.
What's the topic?
Well, I don't know. I really don't want to talk about this. I ain't gonna lie. This Devin Haney thing seems to be what the topic is. So we'll let it go wherever it goes. If this is what everybody wants to talk about, I won't get in the way of it. But let's everybody take an opportunity to build and write down, like Ray said. Ray will moderate it, you know what I'm saying? He'll let you know the mic's gonna come to you. But really, if you just go into mute while it's not your turn, even more appreciated. You know what I'm saying? But Ray, whoever you want to pass him, I think you said you wanted to start with the new guys.
We're gonna start with Ryan, boxing hacker, then freaking flyer, and then we'll go back around.
All right. I was on Instagram today and I saw Brian Norman Jr. and Jaleel Hackett talking a lot of smack, man. And I got excited about that. I said, you know what? Jaleel is a great fighter. He's probably a dude who can give Brian another good fight. And that they're talking about sparring, actually. So they have history. They've been in the gym. And obviously Senior's up there. You know, Senior got a mouthpiece too. So I just feel like that's a fight that Eddie Hearn could send his young lion or cub down there to go take out the lion. What you guys think about that?
No doubt. No doubt. Wait, let me respond to that right quick. Hell yeah. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. And you might not have heard of us talk about it, but you know, Jaleel Hackett, in my opinion, probably is looking to make some moves before because he's a big guy for 154, and he looks crazy in the face when he cuts all that weight. So I guess at this point, him and his team have decided that it's time to get involved in some championship conversations. And if we can't get ourselves in the conversation for some championships, we might be considering moving to 154 rather than sitting here and fighting another 5 to 7 fights before we finally get at some title fights. So he's a prospect who's big for the division. Shout out to Edwin with the weight bullying and everything. This kid probably could fall under that category to a degree because he's cutting extreme weight to be at 147. If you look at him, he looks rather scary and unhealthy at 147. You know what I mean? But he says he's doing it easy. But I thought it was interesting to see him tapping into that energy with Brian Norman. Let's see what happens out of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Right.
Go ahead, Ray.
Quick go round. Go ahead, Boxing Hacker.
What's up, people? Can y'all hear me?
What's up? I'm clear.
Cool. You know, I heard the name Devin Haney, and you know I had to come and represent. You know,
Okay.
I was like, I'm summoned here because of this. So, well, the first thing I want to call out, people have been saying this for a while, right? That Ryan Garcia looks more physically in shape fighting Tank than Devin. And as far as stamina, sure. But when you look at the Ryan from fighting Tank and Ryan fighting Devin, Ryan looked way more stronger. Even coming into the weigh-in, coming into the fight, he looked way more stronger fighting Devin than Tank. When he was before the waiting for Tank, he looked like he was drained. He looked like he was drained the weigh-ins. He looked like he didn't really properly rehydrate when he got into the fight. You know, and weight cutting is a big thing. And this sort of segues me into about the Devin and Ryan fight. People talk about Osring doesn't make you punch faster or whatever. Osring helps you rehydrate though. And nobody's saying that. Like Osring helps you rehydrate. If you look at the weigh-in between Ryan and Devin looked like he struggled through rehydrate, while Ryan looked like he was 100% rehydrated in the weigh-in. You know, so I think that played a major role. You know, and we can't just exclude that. You know, I hear people saying, "Well, you know, he should have blocked. He should have done that." When you're drained, I don't care, and it's Devin's fault for being drained. I'm not saying that. When you're drained, it's hard to like be at your peak performance, you know, especially versus somebody who's 100% performing, you know. So all these things are big factors in the Devin and Ryan debacle that happened. You know, do I think the blame that I would put on Devin when it comes to training? In my personal opinion, one thing I think that hurt Devin a little bit was the weight gain, the muscles that he was gaining. You know, it looked like he was doing some like muscle, like weightlifting and stuff, and his speed wasn't as much as it used to be. I think that's what personally affected him a little bit, you know. But as far as Ryan, how Ryan performed versus Devin, I mean, we can only speculate, but just looking at it wholeheartedly, we have to say that the fact that he took Osprey, the fact that he came in at 143 and he was like completely hydrated versus Devin, who was like probably like 70%. I don't know. It wasn't an even playing field for me. And that's why I'm gonna land with that.
Okay. Go ahead, Frequent Flyer.
What you boxing?
Salute, y'all. What's going on?
Salute, brother.
Yeah, my take on, well, I think everybody know my take on the whole thing. You know, I don't like to give no credit to somebody who was caught cheating, you know, and Ryan Garcia definitely was proven to have been cheating. You know, people were trying to bring some kind of ease to the his fans and whatnot, talking about, you know, Ryan Garcia wasn't slammed for cheating, that he was slammed for just forgetting or not disclosing his supplements. But we can't forget or overlook the reason why that rule that you have to submit your supplements beforehand is in place. You know, in case something like this happened where you pop dirty, you have Osterin in your system or whatnot, or some kind of PEDs or performance enhancement drugs, you can always go to those, the lot number of those things that you were claiming that you were taking, you know, to prove your innocence. And because he didn't do that, there was no way to even go about the process to make sure that it was these supplements that he claimed that he had taken, because it was something that was newly introduced that they didn't know about. And so, man, it's just like, you know, why would you submit your supplements if you know you're going to cheat? You know,
Okay.
It's just too many coincidences. We can't just keep saying, oh, he could have, he would have, maybe he did this or maybe that, you know, making up excuses, giving them a pass on all these coincidences that happen to fall in line to make us not be able to know for sure that, you know, it was his supplements or whatnot, or did he just cheat? And so my take on it is that, you know, we can't credit Ryan Garcia for anything that happened in there. You know, Devin Haney we can say all day we can pick apart, his performance and say, yeah, he should have kept his hand up. He wasn't, he was getting caught with the left hook. But the PEDs muddy the water. We will never know for sure if the PEDs made Ryan Garcia faster than he usually is. We know that Osterin is a performance enhancement that allows you to hold your muscle mass when you're cutting weight and stuff like that. But Ryan Garcia, he came in overweight from the start. He didn't go through the whole weight cutting process and everything to drain himself. And on top of that, he had the Osterin. So man, it's just I don't get no credit to his performance at all. Hopefully Devin will be back better.
Okay. All right. So Clay, are you jumping in on this or are you just gonna let it go around?
I hope it goes around and then it flies off into it.
That's what we're gonna do. All right, this is what we're gonna do for response times because I do want to get Ryan's question answered too.
Right.
I'm gonna put a 2-minute clock up and we're gonna go 2 minutes on the responses of whatever you want until we get to back to Ryan. If Ryan wants to touch in on the subject, we get to frequent, we go back to Ryan's question. Fair. All right. So there we go.
All right, so good everybody. I respect everybody's point. I'm trying to teach myself something about journalism, meaning that every time I argue with a point, I gotta remember that I'm not trying to change your mind. I just want to hear your view. And I have to remember to respect your view, not to debate you all the time. There's moments to debate and there's time to understand that I understand that you so strongly feel that as your opinion. So as a journalist that's covering boxing, I got to remember to take that in. So to every man on the panel, great points. I respect all your points and I love it. Now, to push a little bit forward, my sources tell me that Devin Haney is not going to sit on the shelf and he's going to make a ring return at 147. And that the fight might go against Mario Barrio, the WBC world champion. And what do you guys think about that as a possible fight for Devin Haney to come back? Now, all this things to the side, we've talked enough about it. I believe we're beating a dead horse. So I want to know what you guys think. I think Mario Barrio is a tough guy at 147. He's battled, he had some Tank Davis and one-time Keith Thurman fight, but other than that, Mario Barrio's a solid guy, and for Devin Haney's return at a new weight at 147, what do you guys think about that, and how do you see that fight playing out?
All right,
hold on 1 second. Wait a second before we move on. I appreciate you, Edwin. Thank you for moving this conversation along and moving.
I try.
I appreciate. Thank you, brother.
I try.
I really appreciate it, bro.
We appreciate it.
Let's go next.
Destro, you're up.
Topic. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about it.
Destro.
Destro's taking a break. Give him a second. Give Destro a break. He probably stepped away for a second. Go to the next guy.
All right. We're at Ryan again.
Yeah, man. I think Devin Haney should not stay out that whole year and wait for that Ryan Garcia. Barrios would be a perfect dance partner for him because Barrios struggles with guys with good jab. So, I mean, if Devin Haney gets back to that jab that I thought was the best jab in boxing a few years ago, if he can get back to that, he can probably make a little run at 47. And then maybe Tio and Devin, we finally get it at 47. I wanted it since 35 when they were both there, but 40, I thought for sure we'd get it. Obviously, the Devin Haney and Ryan thing happened, but both men don't have dance partners, so why don't they start talking at 47 too? Tio and Dev. But yeah, I agree. I think Devin and Barrios is a great fight, and I love to see it. WBC title doesn't Haney's still champion recess, so
yeah, and he has a lot of history with the WBC. He had 2 titles and 2 WBC. That's why I think it'll make sense for him going for the WBC champion at 147.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I got on that guy.
All right, you good?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
All right. As far as the the whole Tio and the whole Devin and Ryan thing, I think it's just so much. I hate to beat a dead drum, but it seems like it doesn't seem. It's just blatantly obvious what Ryan did was something that was he blatantly cheated, not just the PEDs, but to come in that. Like generally, when someone misses weight, they miss weight by a point like 0.1 pound or 0.2 pounds. This guy missed weight by 3 full pounds. So he had no intention of coming in. He came in to try to win the fight by any means with any advantage that he has. He didn't come in to fight willing to win a belt or anything like that. It was more so just trying to find a way to win. And that's cheating in itself to all boxers. That's considered cheating when you do something like that. For him to do that, and also with the PEDs as well, it's just like all that's bad. So I don't think he deserves any respect. I get it. He was landing some good shots with his hook and all that other good. None of that really matters because what he did was like he tainted the fight and he tainted his name. And as far as like Devin Haney moving along, I don't think that Devin should give this guy a rematch. I don't think he should give him a rematch. I mean, in history, like when fighters have cheated or they've been cheated, there's been rematches. Like with Cotto and Margarito, they rematched at 154, I believe, or something like that. And Cotto got his revenge and all that other stuff. With this, I don't think that Devin should give this dude a rematch, man. That's just my humble opinion. I think Devin should move on. There's plenty of other fighters that's in Devin's age bracket and also in the weight class. If he moves up and he fights Barrios, if he goes up and he fights Barrios, I think that Devin has a great chance of beating Barrios. Barrios defeated Ugas, and that's a good victory. But I mean, at the same time, even with that said, at 147, you know, Devin's a bigger type fighter, size-wise. He rehydrates pretty nice. I feel like Devin has a strong chance to beat Barrios. I think Devin's a superior boxer overall. He may lack the power, but yeah.
All right, yeah, John. All right.
Greg, hold on. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got 44 people in the building. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. Please remember to take the time to hit that like button. If you got to back out the chat right quick and go ahead hit that like button. I appreciate you guys. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please take a moment to do that as well. Salute to everybody in the chat. Go ahead, Ray. My bad.
All right. No, go ahead, Boxing Hacker. You're up, and you can respond to any of the two questions, whether it be the Jalil Hackett, Brian Norman fight, or the Devin Haney potential Mario Barrios fight.
Gotcha. So I'll answer the Devin Haney Barrios fight. I like the fight. You know, if Devin comes back as Devin, the Devin that we know, I think he washes Barrios. Now that's a big if, you know, because as we know, like if you get when you take punishment like that, it might reduce your punch resistance, you know, and like it could also change the fighter, you know. So we've seen both sides of that spectrum. I'm hoping that Devin comes back 100% healthy, and I think Barrios will be a great jump back fight. Now 147, that means the king at 147 current now is Boots. Does that mean that Devin starts targeting Boots? That might be interesting as well, you know. I think his two potential fights should either be Boots after Barrios or Teofimo. I think those two fights, he might have to wait a little bit on Boots because Boots has been in that division for a long time and he's sort of like the king. But he might have to wait to see how he feels to fight Boots. But I think Teofimo will be a great target after Barrios. But yeah, I do like that fight for Devin, especially at 147, because now we can see hopefully he can cut weight and still be healthy, because since 135, this brother's been dying. He's been dying in the weight cuts, and I always feel bad whenever I see him, you know, weigh in after rehydrate, because that must be hard. At 140, it looked like he was good when he fought Regis. Then when he fought Ryan, it looked like he started being drained again. So hopefully at 147, this might be his weight class. Yeah. Although I do speculate it's probably 154.
Yeah, brother, that's a very good comment. I would like to say something to that. I don't mean to step on anyone.
All right, you good. You got 20 seconds if he shares it.
Definitely. But brother, like, is that a consensus agreement? Like, I know it's just is Boots already the king at 147? Like, is he? Yes. Is there a king at 147? Yeah. Bud just got rid of all the belts. Is he the king?
He's a king, a substitute king at this point.
He's otherwise, he got a big win there.
Otherwise,
Mario's got the best win there right now. Ugas.
Yeah.
But would you favor Ugas over Boots though?
No, I'm just talking about the best win. Avanesian, Ugas.
Yeah, I
Ugas
don't
was a
know.
former champ.
Yeah.
So
Ugas was a former
But I
champ.
feel like more people are inclined to jump in the ring with Ugas versus Boots.
Because we just saw Virgil Ortiz. We all gave him the eye test, and then we saw him last weekend.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right.
we haven't seen Boots in a fight where it's a 50-50 yet.
Right. All right. Let's round the room again. Go to frequent on the follow up, and then we can hit this conversation on the next round. Go ahead, frequent.
To touch on what y'all was just talking about, I feel like Villa beats all of those dudes. I feel like Villa beats Ugas, and I feel like he beats David Avanesian. But as far as Devin Haney coming back, Barrios has a belt, right? 147. Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say if Devin couldn't fight for a belt at 147, I think that he should come back at 140 because he's that champion in recess and he automatically gets a fight with the WBC champion at 140. But yeah, as far as him and Mario Barrios, I think Devin can beat Mario Barrios. It's possible, if he comes back and the fight with Ryan Garcia didn't change anything in his psyche or physically, his punch resistance. Talking about that, at 147, I think he can beat Barrios. As far as Brian Norman Jr. and Jaleel Hackett, I think Jaleel Hackett probably need to move up to 154, man, because I think he looked a little drained, in his last fight at 147. I think he's probably a 154 fighter. I saw him in an interview, after the fight, and he looked like a totally different person, man. He had, filled in and everything, his face and everything. I think he just was real drained. Yeah, he was drained in that fight. So I think he need to move up to 154.
No doubt. Go ahead, Ray.
Well, it's back to you or Edwin.
All right. Well, let me get at it. Edwin, hold on a second. Let me cook, man. Let me cook. Hold on. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Go.
Shout out to the topics, man. Great topics, man. Devin Haney, Mario Barrios, great comeback fight for Devin Haney. I'm very excited to see Devin Haney at 147. I'm not too excited to see him draining himself down to 140. I think Devin Haney's had to make a choice, and I think he made that choice by taking this little hiatus, which is, you know what? I'm done with the weight drain situation. I think he thought he escaped that with that Regis performance. I think he felt real healthy with that, but him on that mission to get strong, gain muscles, he had another bad weight cut against Ryan Garcia. Forget about Ryan Garcia's PEDs and all that. Devin Haney himself suffered a horrible weight cut for that fight. Raccoon eyes. He looked like the Devin Haney that fought against Kambosos and fought against Lomachenko. He looked drained again, and I think he finally came to the conclusion that maybe it's time for him to fight in a weight class where he can comfortably make the weight and do a decent weight cut. And 147 is a move in the right direction. I wanted to see him compete up there. I think Mario Barrios is a great person to put in front of him because, if he had to jump directly in front of a Brian Norman or a Boots Ennis or a Stanionis or any of those guys, I thought it would have been a big risk for him. Mario Barrios is somebody who came from 140, competed at 140, came up to 147. I think stylistically it's favorable for Devin Haney to do well against him. And if Devin Haney is able to secure a WBC title up there, it puts him in there right back in the conversation, making some big fights. Turkey is very favorable on Devin Haney. He wants to put Devin Haney in some big fights. So you get Devin Haney a title up there. You got Boots, who's also who's favored by Turkey Al-Sheikh. A lot of money, a lot of opportunity for legacy, and an opportunity for the fan base to see what this is all about with Devin Haney and his pillow fist reputation that he's earned. Has it been the horrible weight cuts? Has it been him being drained and not have the energy? There's been a lot of stories about Devin Haney in his sparring sessions being a decent puncher, being somebody who can really deliver some power. And but that's him fighting at 170, 175 in there. So let's see how he does at 147. Very interested in seeing him in that division and seeing seeing what the story is all about with him and finally having him try true for real. As far as Jaleel Hackett and Brian Norman Jr. is concerned, I co-sign what Frequent said. I said it a little earlier myself. I think Jaleel Hackett's got barbecue and mildew. Shit on the pot to get off the pot. If you're going to get into some title contentions in that weight class, do it now. These weight cuts aren't going to get any easier. You're a young man right now. You're making these weight cuts. Maybe you're used to it. You're saying that it's okay. But I think on the eye test, when we all looking at how you're looking, we know what we see. We're seeing somebody who's doing some extreme weight cuts. At the end of the day, get in the conversation, get yourself a title. If you can't get into the title conversation, if you're still a prospect, then go up there to 154. Go check on Xander Zayas. Go check. There's a lot of fights that can be made on a lower prospect level for him up there to where he can be up there. Because in reality, he's probably a 160, 168 pounder. But 154 definitely gets you out of all that kidney issues that's straining you, putting on your kidneys and everything, doing all those hard weight cuts. That's my take on it.
All right, Edwin, you're up.
Hey, what's up, guys? Amazing points. Claymore, I'm with you on the Khalil Hackett, man. That's on the money, man. That's exactly. Get yourself a belt. You know, everything you said was, I'm like right there with you. Look, everybody said a lot of things, but Devin Haney, to me, I still don't forget who Devin Haney is and what he did at a young age. Devin Haney became an undisputed world champion at 135 pounds. I think he was 23 years old. He's a baby, you know, and he's getting a lot of criticism for being a person that went in some of the biggest fights of his life, 24 years old. We're legitimately going to get a Kobe Bryant story out of Devin Haney, where he wore the number 24 and the number 8. You're going to see two halves of him. He's already got 30 plus fights, and he's all of 25 years old. He's not even into his prime. He doesn't even have his man strength yet. And we're talking about him fighting against grown-ass men. You know, and he was doing it. He had all the belts. No matter what you think or what you can take away, I'm truly respect Devin Haney's credentials. And that you cannot take away from him. So he has all my respect in the world. He's in a sport where you'll get a lot of criticism and you're not going to please everyone. But I want to see the young man back in action. I want him to prove to the world that he is still Devin Haney and he's still a fighter that is in contention for a world title. And that right there is where we'll be able to determine what he's made of. Because as we all know, we're not built the same. What are you built like? How do you handle adversity from having one of the most horrible nights of your life? Criticism and backlash, how do you respond? It's not what I feel he should respond. It's what he should do now. His career's in his hands. And I'll leave it at that.
That's a great point, man. And you know, a wild thing to think is like everybody's like some people in the chat are saying that Boots Ennis is like the king of 147. Devin Haney is younger than all those guys, including Boots Ennis. He's younger than Boots Ennis, and there's no comparison as far as competition that they fought and accomplishments. You know, just something I'm just throwing out there to all the people saying that Boots is the king of 147 without fighting Stanionis, without fighting pretty much anyone. Right. You know, with a belt that was emailed to him, and him avoiding fights like Bud Crawford and other guys that he could have fought. So, you know, meanwhile, Devin Haney's much younger, and Devin Haney's more accomplished than all of them. So, this goes to show you: is it worth it? Is it worth it?
Uncrowned king. He's not king. He's just uncrowned.
Okay. So, okay, you know, so you're one of them, right? You believe he's the king at 147. Okay.
I guess it depends on what your definition of a king is, because of definition of a king
Burger
is now
King
that holds all 4 belts. There's only one king in his division. Canelo Alvarez has 3 of the belts in his. He's the king. But if you got one belt and everybody has one, you need to find out who's really king, and we need to lock horns. We need to find out. Unless you got more than me, if you're equal than me, then how the hell are you going to say you're better than me? If we got one belt apiece, there's no king.
And he didn't even beat anyone to get that belt. So it's just
No, he defended it. He secured that last fight, which he did the ceremony, which they awarded him the belt in the ring. That's a done deal. He got emailed the belt, and then he fought what's his name? Claymore, help me out here.
Claymore.
No,
David Avenesian. David Avenesian.
I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, talking about Boots.
Okay, so by beating him, that solidifies it. They put the belt in the ring. That's no longer an email belt. He actually fought for it. He got a name.
Hate that, man. They should make the guys fight for the belts, man.
Okay, exactly.
Do we look at Rashidi Ellis as somebody at 147?
He left the division. He actually fights on a private network. I'm glad you asked that question. So he's not even fighting in professional boxing anymore. Some other
Yeah, but I mean, while he was there, we was looking at him as one of them dudes, right?
Yes, I think he's
still. And so he got beat by Villa.
Mm-hmm.
Boots destroyed the man that beat the man. So how we going to still be running around saying he ain't beat nobody?
Well, hold on. All right, so I'm glad you asked that question. So we're going to start that question. We're going to start that question with Brian Norman.
C fighter, B fighter, fighters fighting each other. No one said either of them were somebody.
Ryan.
I was like, who?
Where Brian Norman at? Ryan. I'm sorry, Ryan.
Yeah,
I'm looking like Brian Norman on it.
Yeah, me too. I was like,
hold on.
Channel blowing up, bro.
Yeah. My bad. All right, Ryan, my bad.
They do big things on this stuff.
Shout out to Rashidi, but I mean, who did Rashidi beat? Let's be honest here. Yeah, so I mean, Roman Villa, like that was his biggest win. Man, you know what? The guys just need to mix it up. The champs need to mix it up. That's how we find out who's the best. I hate just giving dudes that label and that the divisions when they haven't even won all the belts. That's why I value Terrence Crawford's undisputed 2 times so much, because he's cleared out 2 divisions and he's looking like he's gonna do 3, and that's crazy that we might see a guy do 3. But Usyk, he can't do 3 because he's too big. Inoue may be able to do 3. Depending, he's getting up there in age too, but he's about to come into a real gauntlet at 26 if you guys stay there. So Crawford may do something we may never see in a long time if he can run it at 54, and 54 is probably the best division in boxing.
Oh yeah, that's murder's row right there. Yep.
Yeah, no slouch to Boots, man. I want Boots to go up to 54 actually, and put his name in that hat and go dethrone those guys. I want him to do that, but I also understand they have a plan. They have a road that they're going on, and that's all right, man. As long as you get to it and fight these fights we want to see, I got no complaints, man.
So the Bud Crawford thing that you just said, brother, would you say that? So what would you guys rather see? What would be more important to Bud Crawford's legacy, especially at his age? Trying to clear out 154, knowing that he's going to probably get more resistance, like as far as guys not trying to fight him and trying to duck him. Would you rather him do that, or would it be bigger for him to fight Canelo and get a victory over Canelo? Clearing 154 or fighting Canelo? What's
clear 54 if it's the right names?
Are we moving the question? You've got 34 seconds.
I'm sorry, my bad, brother.
No, you're good.
Yeah, if he clears the right names at 54, that's better for me, because like I look at it, he's done 3-time undisputed. We've never seen that before. Canelo's never gonna do that, and like all these other guys are never gonna do that. So he makes history, beats his own history. Actually, he's the first to do 2. Now he's gonna be the first to be 3. So that's the way I look at it. But Canelo, it's a big money fight. So if he takes the Canelo fight, I'm like, yo, bro, I get it. That's your retirement money. Go fight that man, you beat him and leave.
Not just that, but a victory over Canelo. Like none of those guys at 154 is Canelo, though, man. Like you
know. I agree.
Let's move it.
I agree with you. And Terrence Crawford is number 1, right? And as far as legacy, I only see that he has 3 or 4 fights. So you guys got to remember, in order to be considered a division world champion, you don't need all 4 belts. You only need 1. By him leaving the 154, he already dominated that division by getting 1. By fighting Saul Canelo Alvarez, you're also adding another division and another belt. That would be 5 weight divisions. Yeah, now that's where the legacy part comes in.
Nah, it's hard to clean out 4, then just win 1 in each. Because the Pacquiao's won 1 in each age division that he's went up, and he's beaten vacant. Like he's winning vacant titles. I don't count that. When you beating the guys,
No. Manny Pacquiao is the 6th division world champion, and the 2 other belts with the Ringside Magazine belt that you don't count it, that it's not a belt, and some silver gold belt that's not counted. But technically, he legitimately has 6. That's all Pacquiao has. Now, as far as it goes in the record books, you do not have to win all 4 belts to the division. You just need one real belt, like the top dog belt. But if you do it like Manny Pacquiao did, and you got a bunch of interims in between, and they just want to sell it to you because you're a star status, I see why they did that. You could say anything in boxing and get away with it. But if you wake up tomorrow and you say LeBron James got 8 rings, the NBA and the internet would crash because they want proof. Where the fuck did LeBron get 8 rings from? But you could say that in boxing, and nobody would bite an eyelash. They won't even look it up. They'll just believe the story. But like you said, look, I think that Jaron Boots Ennis is the next superstar. I just don't want Terrence Crawford in a way on his way out of the sport to fucking knock off our next superstar, that it'd be another American fighter that they had to get to do their dirty work. Why couldn't the Ukrainians beat him? Why couldn't the Japanese beat him? Why couldn't Mexico beat him? Why you got to get us to take ourselves out? So Terrence Crawford on the way out, he's on money fights, and Jerome Boots Ennis is here. They're 2 trajectories in their career. Jerome Boots Ennis, you're going to get your time, your moment. You're the next man going to get the torch. I hope you're ready.
All right.
Yeah, that when we country gang banging, baby.
Let's keep it moving in order, people. Let's keep it moving in order. Edwin, I'm going to skip you on the next round because you took over 2 minutes. I already counted you. So we're going to go to Boxing Hacker and Frequent Flyer. Go ahead, Boxing Hacker.
Yo, I'm back. Wait, is there a new topic?
No. It was kind of changed, but we're just going to go on to the next round after that. It's the same thing.
Oh, it's the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, continue.
You lost?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll talk. Let's go after me. I'll go after somebody else.
Right. Go ahead, Frequent.
Oh yeah, man. I think it's like a double standard, man. You know, because I hear people saying that Boots ain't fight nobody. Saying that it's other people down there with belts and stuff like that. But here we have the 135 division. Everybody crowned. Nobody got a problem with crowning Tank the king of that division, and he only had 1 belt. It was a secondary belt for a long time until Devin left, and now that Devin left, Tank is the full champion now. But at the same time, you got Shakur down there, you got Loma, even though Loma ducking them though, but you do got Loma down there, to put in his argument. And I think Boots has shown that, he's a force to be reckoned with at 147, with a lot of people not wanting to fight him. He's been having a hard time getting people to share the ring with him. You got people arguing that he should move up to 154 to get somebody to get in the ring with him, So I think it's, undeniable that Boots is, the king down there at 147. Now, Brian Norman Jr., when he get that belt, we gonna see. You know what I'm saying? When Brian Norman Jr. get his belt or whatever, did he get it already? Because Bud dropped it, right?
Yeah.
Or do we got to fight for it?
No, they call everybody's a champion right now.
Yeah, he's full champ right now. Yeah.
So they emailed it right to him.
Yes, sir.
Let's get it. Email champion versus email champ. Let's get it.
All right. Let's go to Boxing Hacker.
Okay, cool. Hey, so when it comes to Boots, I'm hearing what people are saying about him, not proving himself 147. But at least we can call him like the king pending or something. I don't know. Call him king to come,
The eye test champion. Call him the eye test champion. I'm sorry.
I like the boogeyman.
Yeah. I mean, for me, no, I'm hearing what people are saying. I think Edwin made a classic point that, he would like to see that Boots be somebody else besides Crawford. You know, why do we want to knock the two Americans off? But hey, that's boxing. You know, Crawford was the former king. He is the one that he is the reason why Boots became champion. So it does make I do see why Boots wants to prove himself against Crawford. You know, but like for me, one thing about Boots, I just want to see what their plan is, because on one hand, like I said, they always call out Crawford, but to me, they're not really pushing for that fight like they should be. Or and the other hand, it's like Conquer 147. He needs to choose one of the two. You know, and there are a lot of, you're right, there are a lot of champions at 147, but I still believe that, and of course, it's unproven because we've seen crazy things happen in boxing before, where like we think one person's a king and he gets knocked out, you know. So like, you know, I do want to see him getting rings, at least finish that division, you know. And if he wants to go for Crawford, then he needs to go 154 and prove it that he wants to go for Crawford. No more like this and that. And on that one,
20 seconds.
Oh, 20 seconds. On that one thing about the belts, I'm glad you called it out, because Tank, people have been saying Tank is a 5-time world champion, you know. Every time he's fighting 5 times, he be 135. You're like, damn, I thought that was undisputed. And that was Tank, 5-time world champion.
All
like,
in terms,
that was some belts.
Regulars. He's the Reggie champ. The Reggie champ.
Ding, 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 ding.
Go ahead, Clay.
All right, man. All right. First of all, legitimately speaking, technically speaking, no, Boots Ennis is not the king of 147, right? I acknowledge that. He still has a responsibility to get those belts, fight the best in that division, and become an undisputed champion, or at least like my guy Edwin said, collect at least one other belt, right? You need to have something over everybody else in that division to get those accolades. Now, my eye test says that. That's why I call him the underground king. I'm saying he's a king. How 50 Cent said, I'm the underground king and I ain't been crowned. You know what I'm saying? Now my eye test says that's who he is to me. You know what I'm saying? That this man is the best. I consider him to be the best at 147. But that does not dismiss the fact that he still has a responsibility to go show improve. Because like my guy Ryan Frazier said earlier today, we just watched what happened with Virgil Ortiz, right? The other night, he became very human when he got inside the ring with somebody. We just saw Jared Anderson get exposed and become very human in front of a real heavyweight fighter. So we can all have our ideas of what we think these fighters can do and the potential that they have, but ultimately they have to be all tried through fire. You know what I mean? They have to all be put inside of that space with somebody who can, that dance partner that helps them get that accolade. So yeah, you know what I mean? I agree with everybody. I got my credibility to put on the line. I'm not going to sit here and say stupid stuff and just call this man a damn king. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm being sarcastic, but I am being a little bit I'm celebrating Boots, and I do think he is going to be that. But no, 100% I agree with everybody on the panel who says the man still has to fight who he's supposed to fight. And hopefully we see him do that sooner rather than later. But yeah, he's the underground king.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's take a unless y'all want to stay at 147. I was going to say let's spin the wheel a little bit and go somewhere else.
Yeah, salute to Rich, Mr. Respect, Mr. I respect the belts. Let's go. Let's go.
30 seconds on one thing.
No, go ahead. You got it.
I just wanted to answer to Homeboy's question, because the statement was, at what point you feel that we should take out each other. The difference between Boots Ennis and Terrence Crawford fight, rather than Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford cleared out everybody. Jerron Boots Ennis didn't clear out anybody. He didn't earn the right to have that super fight. And that's the difference that we can see in competition. Well, then, damn it, they're the two best Americans. They should fight. The way you're considering them to fight is by popularity. He really didn't deserve the fight to fight a man such as Terrence Crawford.
Absolutely. Good
point.
Agree. Oh, good point. Good point.
And who's to say that? Who's to say that that Boots is the second best American fighter besides Bud Crawford? Because Boots hasn't done anything to that. It's just basically off of what we see as far as talent goes.
Okay.
And that's unfair to other fighters who have climbed their way up the rankings. And like I said, go back to a guy like Devin Haney, who's done everything that he's done. Well, most young fighters are treated like babies. Like, what I'm saying? Like Tank was treated. You know what I'm saying? Like, but whereas Devin went right into the fire and fought the guys that Tank was supposed to fight. So just goes to show you, man, it's very important to not anoint a fighter without him actually doing something. When you look at Boots Ennis, he has the talent, but he's done pretty much nothing, bro. Like, he hasn't fought anyone at 147. And people want Bud to go back down and weight to fight him, as opposed to Boots, the younger guy, going up in weight and fight him. Right?
Can I respond to that, y'all?
He had an opportunity to fight Bud Crawford twice. He could have exercised his WBO thing, and he chose not to, because supposedly he was being loyal to Al Heyman, which to me made no sense. He's not even with Al Heyman now. Like, it's just certain stuff. There's excuses that are made. There's provisions that are made for certain fighters where they're being protected, as opposed to other guys. Like, you can say what you say about Terrence Crawford. You can say what you want to say about Errol Spence, but they proved who they are by fighting other accomplished fighters and winning titles and putting it on the line. Whereas Boots Ennis, who's not even the youngest of the fighters, of the young fighters, he's not even the youngest of the young guys. There's guys that are much younger than him that are way more accomplished, and they don't get the love that Boots got. It seems like as soon as Errol Spence got his ass whooped and embarrassed by Bud Crawford, it seems like they all scattered and they all went to Boots Ennis now, and they just anointed him without actually him doing anything. And I think that's unfair, and that's not how boxing goes.
Cool.
That's just not how it goes.
No, that's what's up. That was dope. Clay, you want to just put everybody on mute and have them unmute themselves as I call them? We're going to do a 30-second lightning response to that. We'll start with Freaking Flyer, and then we'll go up the panel.
All right, everybody be muted.
All right, yeah. We got something in boxing called the Muhammad Ali Act. And one of the things that it put in place is that ranking system to ensure that all the fighters have a fair chance at getting a crack at the championship. A ranking system, is what validated Boots to be worthy of having that shot at Bud while he was at 147. So we don't have no right to say that he didn't earn his shot. Boots didn't have, no rights to be able to fight Bud while he was at 147. That's what the ranking system is for. And that yeah, and that
means you're done.
Dang, that quick?
Yeah, it's 30 seconds, bro. Lightning round. You gotta be quick. All right. Go ahead, Boxer Hacker.
Yeah, I mean, that's a cherry pick off what Freakin was saying. Like, Boots has definitely earned his right to challenge whoever he wants to challenge, I mean, when it comes to Terrence Crawford was undisputed at 147. Boots became his mandatory, and I think Boots was waiting even after the Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence rematch for that fight. So logistically, like, yeah, Boots deserves that match. Oh wow, yeah, that's my stand right there.
It's quick, right? All right, go ahead, Ryan. Start.
Yeah, man. The rankings, obviously, Boots deserves his shot. I do believe, like just the rest of the panel, he deserves his shot. But the ranking systems are terrible, man. Like the WBC, you just got to show up to the convention and say, "Yeah, my guy should be here," and it's either people agree or they don't agree, which is just mind-boggling to me. It's like it should be like the UFC. You fight the guy ahead of you. That's how you get up. But nah, these guys, it's all about money. Who's paying the fees? You got a guy, Ernesto Mercado, who's got a great resume at 140, and he's not ranked in any of the bodies, which is stupid.
All right. Next. Go ahead, Edwin.
I like all you guys' comments. I just think that Jaron Boots Ennis, you guys are judging him based off one ranking or one thing. You're forgetting there's 4 sanctioning bodies. He's only ranked for the IBF that high. You see, and then that's where everything gets confusing. But as far as him, I believe he needs to just keep earning his way. And, Jaron Boots Ennis, Terrence Crawford is not the only fight in boxing. Just let him keep winning, and let's see where he ends up.
Word. All right. Go ahead, Destro.
You guys are saying that Boots earned his shot at Bud Crawford, but you guys do realize that Boots had his shot at Bud Crawford. He could have exercised the mandatory. He could have exercised the mandatory to fight Bud Crawford, but he chose not to. He chose to fight in a whole nother. He chose to jump out of the WBO and go into the IBF and become the IBF, or actually just to fight in the IBF, not even for the mandatory position. It's almost like he knew he was going to get the email. He pretty much like knew, because he had that lined up. He could have exercised it to fight Bud Crawford, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Why looking past that when he could have
All right,
done
that was time. Clay, you want to touch on anything, or you want to keep it moving?
No, I mean, we can keep it moving, man. Let's do the topic.
These guys, listen, man. I think you guys are really killing it right now. I think everybody's making a lot of sense on what they're saying. Listen, I've never seen Boots. I don't know if he's catching jabs or he's making layups. it's like both ways. It's like it's praise and it's like, you know what? I don't like what he's doing, but I like what he's doing, which is cool. You know what I mean? That's what we like. You know what I mean? We like the fact that, you know, no one's perfect. So the next thing I did want to bring up, if you guys want to move the needle, how do you see with
hold on, Ray, can I say one last thing with that before we go off of that? Because there was something important that needed to be said there that the brother just spoke on about the IBF. He said that Boots left the WBO where he could afford him and went to the IBF because he knew he would be getting the hand-me-down belt. But that's not true. Boots was in the IBF. He was actually the mandatory for Errol Spence. And Bud inherited that mandatory by beating Spence. And that's how he became Bud's mandatory. And Bud didn't fight him, and that's why he got stripped.
No, he was already the mandatory for the WBO. He was already that before he had a fight with the IBF. He didn't go to the IBF and stayed there and was like, okay, now I'm about to fight the champion of the IBF. No, he fought someone.
I thought Virgil was a WBO and he passed up the fight.
Yeah, exactly. Which
Boots left before Virgil abandoned the WBO.
Yeah. So Boots wasn't even in position in the WBO. That's why he went to the IBF. And at the IBF, he got the mandatory spot by beating somebody. And so he became the mandatory for Errol Spence. And that's why the IBF stripped Bud. It's facts.
And let's not forget about that. Boots was on hold because his promoter died and he was in court for about a year and his career stalled out. So that year coming into being him awarded the IBF, technically he was just barking on social media, but legally he couldn't fight because he was going to court. But he didn't want to say that because and then people would be like, oh, you can't fight. But he kept coming on saying things and why things were moving around the IBF, and then he was awarded. But technically he couldn't fight.
So why would the WBO president say that Boots Ennis chose not to exercise his mandatory?
Because they didn't just want to say that, oh, his promoter died and the wife want to stay with all the contracts and she didn't want to let Jerron Boots Ennis out of the contract. She was being a bitch.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right, we're gonna move the needle before about that.
Damn, bro.
Move the needle. Edwin, I love your you got the energy, bro. I love it.
Bro. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Whoa, we didn't expect that. Yeah, that man, that was a widow, bro.
I felt that, man.
But
it was like you for a second.
So I want to move the needle here. We you know, if you're true to boxing, you're true to boxing, but I don't want to really bring the Sheik in right now, and I really want to talk about 135. Is what Tank Davis did by making a list and not sending contracts or trying to negotiate or picking fighters out of turn, is that a problem for him right now? Is that going to starve him out of the fights with the other fighters that are in the rankings or on his list? Him trying to get those fights at 135 right now, because it seems that they're like, look, Tank, you're the you're the guy that everybody wants to fight because we feel that you never fought nobody. But guess what? We're on your list. You need us. We don't need you. We can go do it without you, and we can meet sometime after that. Do you guys feel that way?
Well, let me build on that real quick. I think it's an interesting situation, and some people might say the tides have looked like they've turned to a degree, right?
Okay.
Tank definitely put himself in a position. It's something about, Tank always prided himself on never calling out fighters, right? I mean, I remember one time Gilly and Wallow were interviewing and asked him, who have you ever called out? Who are you looking to fight? And Tank said, I don't call nobody out. You know what I'm saying? I just fight who they put in front of me. And that was a significant thing that he said at that point, because what he was basically saying is, whoever I fight, I'm going to make money. There's no pressure on me to call anybody out. I have nobody that I want to fight. Everybody wants to fight me, right? And that put him in a position of power. There was a leverage in that position that he took. But I do believe that by calling certain fighters out and letting fighters know that they're on the list and that these are the fighters, that these fights are going to happen regardless, it took a lot of pressure off these fighters. The Shakur Stevenses, the Lomachenkos, the Devin Haney's, the whoever's on that list, it took the pressure off of having to chase Tank around and call him out and make it. And I can remember Kenny Ellis and all those guys always saying, man, go a year, go 365 days without calling Tank's name. Well, it's been quiet out here in these streets. I don't hear anybody calling Tank's name anymore. I don't hear anybody really pursuing Tank like that anymore. They're waiting on their contract to come in the mailbox, right? They're waiting on their call to come and so they can come get their big payday. So there is pressure on Tank now. Tank has made statements about where he plans on being after 6 fights, that he's going to retire. He doesn't plan on being here for a long time. It's up to him to pick who he's getting ready to fight. But the interesting is somebody called Vasily Lomachenko played a different card this time. He played a different card and said, no, bro, I don't need you. You need me. I'm the one who you say you need to fight. I'm the one on your list. I've already accomplished so many great things. I'll continue to accomplish great things. If I don't fight you, my legacy stays intact. You're going to either pay me what I want to get paid, or you're going to wait. And I think the negotiations have taken on a different color, have taken on a different face at this point. When you look at it from the outside looking in, you see a lot of, especially with the addition of Turkey Al-Sheikh into the equation, and him wanting to make the biggest fights for these fighters like the Shakur Stevenses and maybe Lomachenko, because he was definitely there in the building, and it was definitely a little confrontation between him and Shakur. We don't know how scripted that was or natural, organic that was. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's quiet out here. You don't hear a lot of people calling Tank's name. You don't hear him calling his name like they used to call his name before. So be careful what you wish for. Looks like it might have came true. We'll see, though. Time will tell the story better than any of us can tell the story.
All right, good job. All right, go ahead, Edwin. You got 3 minutes.
Yo, the problem I think that a lot of us have, I'm guilty of this, is sorting out truth from lies. There's a lot of live fights that were put on Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson when they never even had anticipated saying that. Just people put out these suggested fights, and then we start going at each other's throats over it. Rather than Tank Davis being in the Olympics helping, he knew he'd have no business, but people are saying that he was going to do this or should do this. Meanwhile, he wasn't doing anything. So fighting the lie stories and what he's truly held responsible for. And remember, when he came out and said some lists, it was like a fucking, it's kind of like warning everybody. I don't think he wrote everything, and people want to take it personal. What Loma's doing, in fact, is trying to make it like money, when his whole narrative is, I'm staying in boxing because of legacy. That means I would have fought you for a belt for free if that was true. You see? And then you turn around and say, you're going to pay me? No, you just don't want to fight the man. You want them to take away each other out, so when you do fight him, you have an ability to fight him for 3 belts. Have Tank Davis do your dirty work, then fight him. It's much easier and less work on you, Loma. You see? It's a dirty business, but let's see if he falls for it. So Tank Davis is really criticized for a lot of different parts, mainly live fights that just people are talking out the side of their ass, and what he's really truly in business with, and what's he trying to get, and who's really running from him. It's a dirty business.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Destro. You up.
All right. Yeah. The situation with Tank and Loma, to me, is a little tricky one, because at one time Loma was trying to fight Tank, and Tank didn't want anything to do with it. Or you can say that Tank handlers didn't want to do anything with it. A lot of there were times where Tank and Floyd Mayweather used to beef. They would beef on social media. They would beef like just they would always argue, and Floyd would threaten Tank by saying, "I'm gonna keep talking shit. I'm going to feed you to Loma." In other words, if he's using that as a threat, that just goes to show you that maybe Tank wasn't so sure that he would beat Loma, or Tank didn't want to fight Loma at the time. Now, speed it up to right now, at this particular time right now, Tank is 30 years old. Like, he's not a kid. Like, so he's not like some young fighter in the boxing game. He's 30 years old. He's actually older than most of the other younger fighters we were talking about. Now, all the pressure's on him because it's almost like he's the Canelo of American fighters. He could fight whoever you want to fight. Everybody's calling, everybody using his name. Everybody want that Tank that Tank money bag. So they're willing to fight this guy for the money, for the bread, even if they know they're going to lose. Now, with great power comes great responsibility. Now, Tank, there's no more coddling Tank. There's no Floyd coddling Tank. No one's coddling him anymore. Now he's got to fight someone. He's got to fight some of the fighters we want to see him fight. And if he doesn't fight Loma, and Loma's using that to his advantage, if he doesn't fight Loma, if Loma says, "Nah, I'm not fighting you," then who's Tank gonna fight? I don't want to see him fight just anyone, just another showcase fight. We want to see him fight some of the other young fighters, the other hungry fighters that's not going to just go in the ring and accept a paycheck and fall down. So that's what I want to see from Tank. But I don't know if that really answers the question that you asked. But that's just that's how I view Tank,
Okay. Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, man. The Tank situation is definitely like Lomachenko threw that wrench in there. He did something that we didn't think he was gonna do. I thought he was gonna fight Tank, but at the same time, he was telling us he didn't really want to even come back for that Kambosos fight. Like, he said he only came back because of his pops. So I thought he was retiring after. And Shakur Stevenson, obviously, he has his business with the Sheik and Zepeda, so that fight's off the table. So I think the Sheik, honestly, after he sent that offer to Tank and Tank said, "Send me 2 Ferraris," he said, "All right, I'm gonna freeze you out. All you guys you want to fight, I'm gonna offer them more money to come over here and fight. So why would they fight you?" Frank Martin only made $1 million fighting Tank. It's not Canelo. Canelo, you making minimum 5. So if the Sheik could say to you, "I'm gonna give you $1 million to fight Isaac Cruz," Jose, why would you fight Tank when you have a shot at a belt and it's a winnable fight? He's not gonna get knocked out because it's Isaac Cruz. But I think Tank and his team need to call out guys, actually. Go to the table, say, "Yo, we want this guy, we want that guy." That's how they're gonna get it rolling. Because he doesn't need the Sheik, to be honest, but he does need to be vocal about who he wants. Because I think his fan base will push those fighters to Tank. It'll be his fans. It won't really be Tank. You just got to say the name. The Tank boy is gonna show up, man. They're gonna support. That's for sure. I think he's the few dude. He's a dude that could be a stadium fighter. I keep saying that he could be a stadium fighter, but it is what it is, man. Tank's a great fighter. I just want to see him test himself. He should move up to 40 and take on Tio. That's what I think he should do.
I agree.
Okay. Go ahead, Boxing Hacker.
Great. So when it comes to this whole Tank 6-fight deal, one thing I don't even know how he's guaranteed 6 fights for people that are like on different promotional companies, Like, and the landscape of boxing is always changing, This person may lose, this person may move up. Lomachenko pulled out, pause. When you come to Lomachenko, I know everybody's like, "Oh, Lomachenko's ducking, he's ducking." But I remember when they were at 130. I remember when Lomachenko won that 130 fight, and his whole team was like, "Oh, well, Lomachenko's getting old. He just wants it now because he's about to retire." Floyd Mayweather at a whole press conference, people act like they don't remember this. At a press conference, was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna try and make that Lomachenko fight." And Tank himself said, "No, you're not." People act like they don't, like this is like they don't even remember this even happening. Yeah, this actually happened. So when I seen, when it comes to like Lomachenko like pulling back, and saying like, "Oh, okay, like maybe he doesn't want to fight this year, or maybe he wants to see Shakur and Tank, knock each other off." Honestly, I can't be mad because like when you look at how it went with Loma, they sort of like Tank sort of like, denied them for years, and nobody and the boxing community at that time, the energy was totally different. They were like, "Oh, Tank Tank just started. He doesn't need to fight Loma now.
Right.
Tank was the whole 130 champion. Why can't he fight him? If you're a champion, you're not ready for challengers. You shouldn't be the champion.
Exactly.
You can't be a champion in this division. Talk about you're not ready for fighters. And that's something that I never understood. So Loma not doing that, I get it. And now when it comes to will it hurt Tank? The original question. So when Tank wasn't giving out offers, the people who want to fight him were chasing him crazy, right? And they were taking anything. Look at what happened to Ryan. Tank said Ryan took anything they gave him. Ryan had like a rehydration clause. They told Ryan he couldn't even have a tune-up fight. They told that man he couldn't even have a tune-up fight. And then Tank had a tune-up fight. Tank fought Hector Garcia while Ryan had to wait on the bench until that Hector Garcia fight ended,
That's another thing about Tank is the rehydration clause. Y'all forgot about that?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Like he does that to everybody.
Yeah, the rehydration clause, of course, because he was a cash cow. But now you have reha season, you have Turkey and stuff. That's definitely gonna play a hinder. Now he can't just negotiate the way he wants to. He has to take his time, and he has to gives people better incentives to fight, because if they don't like it, they'll be like, "Hey, I'll mess with Turk," I'll pass from there.
Okay.
Hey, can I answer one thing real quick? Can I answer one thing?
Yeah, you got 6 seconds.
We talk about the rehydration clause, right? And it's okay that you put it in place for him. But when Ryan Garcia came in 3 pounds overweight, it was considered cheating. But when Tank Davis uses it to protect himself from that very thing cheating, you criticize him. Tank Davis just wants to be fought on an even playing field.
Hold on. Okay, so I'm probably not. Maybe people agree with me, maybe they won't. So the difference in what I'm going to say is the fact that Tank made this guy come down in weight and wouldn't fight him at his full strength was the advantage of Tank. Whether it was a rehydration clause or not involved, it was the advantage. The other side of the whistle was they knew that Devin was working on muscle and strengthening for this fight. And what they did is they let him drain himself of every single liquid in his body so he can get down to the weight where Ryan was like, you know what? For me, I could take advantage. It wasn't, and it was like it was said earlier, it wasn't like it was like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 over the scales. This guy was a full 3 pounds, which makes him a welterweight. So he was actually fighting at a division. It became a catchweight fight. Now, luckily for Devin, it was a non-title fight. In the case of Tank, it was a non-title fight. So in both cases, I can see your point of the rehydration clause for what it is compared to the non-letting them rehydrate. You just have one. You have one condition, whether it was steroids or not. You have full strength on one end, and even a little over because he was at 143, so he was actually over the weight limit. Then you have on the other side, him being drained, him being weakened, and regardless of his strength, the rehydration only allowed him to gain a certain amount of weight. So there was no power. It was like the power was there, but it wasn't the power that he has at 143, 144, 145 and above. That's why that happened. I'm gonna move the needle because we got one more speaker, and then we'll go back to it.
Okay, wait. One thing though, because there's a difference between making weight and then being able to rehydrate and not making weight at all and still being able to rehydrate as much as you want. Right. And with the Devin Haney fight, this guy didn't make weight and he was allowed to rehydrate as much as he want. Whereas versus Tank, he made weight and he couldn't rehydrate as much as he want. So that's a major. That's two different things.
Let's not forget the elephant in the room. Let's not forget the elephant in the room. And this is the elephant in the room. When it's not like he went into the fight and was notified after the fight that Ryan came in 3.5 pounds. They called him into the office, wrote out a new contract, and he accepted. He was aware of it. After he was aware of it, he said, I'm still going to win the fight. But after you lose the fight, now you say it was a weight issue. The elephant in the room is you can make any excuse in the world. You had an opportunity to walk away.
No. Ryan Garcia said out his own mouth. I've never made one.
I feel like we're getting off topic, and I ain't get my chance to talk yet.
Kevin, let's finish the conversation. We'll circle the wheels. Go ahead, Frequent.
Yeah, I'm looking at it from Tank fans' point of view. You know, when Devin was out here, you know, he was constantly calling out Tank, him and Bill Haney, Tank, and all of that stuff. And, you know, it brewed a whole bunch of hate from a lot of the Tank fans and everything. But now that Devin is not here, you know what I'm saying, we got these other fighters that, you know, got the chance to fight Tank, and they turning it down. I know they, you know, probably looking at that in a different way now. You know what I'm saying? At least Devin was trying to fight him. Now you got these fighters that's not really thinking about fighting him. So, you know, just something to think about, man.
That's it?
Tom.
Okay. All right. So go ahead. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Clay. You got anything on this?
Nah, man. Look, man. When it comes to this Tank conversation, man, you know how I feel about it, and you know, Tank is earned the right to do a lot of things, and I think he should capitalize on all the privileges that he's earned as an A-side fighter, as a fighter who moves the needle when it comes to the conversation of pay-per-view, when it comes to the conversation of butts and seats at shows. When it comes to those things, he should move at his own pace, and you know, he's earned that. If I've ever had any type of anything to contest about it, is just other fighters being able to also move along with their careers, find opportunities to make their name, to make their bones, to earn their titles, and to earn big paydays without having to wait on Tank, right? So this is the situation that we're looking in right now. What we're looking at is Tank is doing what he's doing, relaxing. And listen, like I said earlier, they've been asking for people to keep Tank's name out of their mouths for a long time. And now they can. So I'm sure Tank is in a great space right now to where he can make his decision. He's not going to have a hard time finding a fight. Well, I mean, he might have a hard time making a fight where he's just going to give anybody anything they want, as far as the Shakur Stevenson conversations are concerned, as far as the Lomachenko or the Tiafimo or whatever other person's on his list. Maybe that might be a little more contested, but still it'll get ironed out. But ultimately, more importantly, is he doesn't have to feel like he's being attacked by the industry. The fans of Tank don't have to feel like he's being attacked. They don't have to always come to his defense and be like, Tank this, Tank that, because everybody's letting Tank live. Let Tank do what he does. When he feels like sending out the contracts for wherever he wants to fight, him and his team will come together and send those contracts out. But I was going to say something that would probably be controversial, so I won't say it. I'll just say one face of boxing, don't stop no show. When you have Turkey Al-Sheikh, when you have Rihad season there to offer these fighters opportunities out there. They don't have to do that no more. You know what I'm saying? They can be like, you know what? You see how Shakur feels about it. Yeah, when he called me. I'll be waiting for him. You see Lomachenko, I won't do it now. I'll do it later. You know what I'm saying? I'll wait till later. It doesn't hurt me. That's what it's going to be, and rightfully so. You know what I mean? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. I don't hear too many people complaining about what's going on 135 right now. I mean, there's some fans out there who feel like they want to see what they want to see, but for the most part, it seems nice and calm at 135. The division is probably going to kick off soon. As soon as Shakur Stevenson is able to get a fight locked in, whether it's with William Zepeda or whatever have you, and as soon as Bob Arum decides on how he's going to handle Dennis Berinchyk and who he's going to put in the ring with them to get some titles moving around, and as soon as we get the word from Tank who he's fighting next, the division is going to move accordingly. I believe we're going to just see the division move. We'll see some unifications get done, and hopefully when the smoke is all cleared, there'll be an undisputed champion at 135.
So, brother, I hate to say this. I didn't mean to cut you off. Let me say this one quick thing. Give me 5 seconds to say this.
No, I'm done.
Okay. You said that Tank. He deserves to be able to do whatever he want to do. Why is that though? Compared to there's other fighters that are younger than him that have accomplished more. Is it so much more? Is it because Tank, the fashion in which he wins, like by the knockouts and stuff like that? Because there's like fighters like Devin Haney that has fought the guys that Tank should have fought. There's guys like Devin Haney who have more accomplishments. They have been undisputed at 135. They have done the things that Tank didn't do. So is this more about the fashion in which Tank wins by knocking out his opponents?
No, wait, hold on. Let me respond. No, it's in reference to his support. It's in reference to the support he has from his fans, from the people who are going to buy the pay-per-views, from the exciting, exciting fights that he puts out there, the knockouts that he delivers. He's earned the right because he has a fan base that's going to support him. And there's nothing wrong with that. He has a fan base that's going to fill in the stadium whenever he has his show. They're going to buy the pay-per-views. They're going to defend him on channels. They're going to do everything for him. He's earned that, through his delivery of exciting fights and things of that nature, whether it's against the names that people want to see him with or the names that they think is beneath him. He has a product that sells and moves. It's his product, and he has
who's the guys? Who are the guys that?
Let me answer exactly. I'm sorry. Let me just answer this. I want to speak on this. So exactly what he just said. So here's the problem. You had Devin, which was the boxing champion, and you had Tank, who was the people's champion. As simple as that. The people wanted to see Tank fight, and they didn't care who he fought. He was just their champion. Whereas Devin was the champion, and he was calling him out because he wanted that status of not only being the title holder, he wanted the status of being the people's champion as well to prove that he is the best in the division. And there's many, and to this day, Tank is still known as the people's champion of 135. That's just what it is. I don't know why I just think he's a regular boxer. I think he's one of the belt holders and unify if you got to. But as far as in the case of the people, because I'm not one of those people, I think somebody called them the Tinkerbells or something, Tank friends or something. I don't know earlier.
Maniacs, buddy.
Maniacs, whatever you want to call them, But I just think that because of the fan base that Tank brings to him, he gets the status of people's champ, and I think that helps his case in that matter. Oh, go ahead, Edwin. 30 seconds.
I think it's all based on revenue nowadays. As you put seats in the ass stands and you sell, that's it. You get catapulted to be able to fight and make the fights, because in today's age, it's all about money. And there's a lot of champions that are out there that are better and more accomplished and that are starving. They just don't got that it factor. As long as you sell in today's era, you can call your shots. And Tank Davis is a cash cow in today's era. He calls his shots. That's all it is.
Word.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Anybody? Ryan? Almost called you Brian Norman again. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, man. And then to say what Edwin's saying, to add on to that, that's why Rolly Romero was a champ, because he could sell tickets. And people liked him. People liked what he said. And that's why he got a shot, man. I don't think Rolly did anything to earn a WBA title. And he definitely got gifted against that old man. He was getting beat up in that fight.
So all those fights.
It's just like you say, man. Guys who could sell get treated a little different in this industry. Because let's be honest here, if we all promoters, man, who we gonna take to the show? Devin Haney or Tank? Like, who's gonna make us richer at the end of the night? That's just what it is.
Yeah, but as boxing fans, what makes us rich? Like, that's our money. Seeing the fight we want to see.
Exactly.
That's the fight.
Yeah.
That's
so that's why I value Devin Haney more as a fan.
Everybody on this panel is like real boxing fans. The people in the chat, we're real boxing fans. That's why we all here. Now, real boxing fans want to see Tank. We've been Tank's 30 years old, bro. Like, we've been wanting to see Tank fight other fighters. Like, we didn't want to see him fight Barrios. We wanted to see him. We wanted to see him fight. We wanted to see him fight Loma. We wanted to see the young guys scrap it up with each other. It's just a shame that Devin Haney, the one that ran this gauntlet and went to another country and fought guys in Australia and fought them back to back to get the titles and all this other stuff to become undisputed. And he did this and that. Then he jumped up to another weight class, fought Regis, and wanted, like, he's doing all this while, Tank get to do exactly what he wants because he's the people's champion, right? But he's not everybody's people's champ. Like, he's not.
Brother, I listen. I tell you what. You could sell a lot of tickets and you could make a lot of money, but I know Tank Davis had to sit on his sofa and watch young Devin Haney live out his dream. Young Devin Haney, all right, and he went and got them belts, and you can't take that away from the young man. Okay, so you could take all that bag of money, but I guess what? You can't enter into the Hall of Fame with those bag of monies. But Devin Haney will walk right through the metal detector with those 4 belts.
Okay. Well, my take on it, y'all, I kind of agree with what Clay was saying. I think that Tank, can fight who he wants now, because at this point, the fighters that he want to fight and the fighters that we want to see him fight, those fighters don't seem like they rushing to make that fight. You know, Shakur's going a different way. Loma flat out said he don't want to fight. Duck. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, Tank get the fight. He get the it's his choice who we want to fight now, because
yeah, but
amongst those other fighters, though, it's nobody in big demand for that. People want to see him fight. So he, like Clay said, he get to fight who he want to fight, man.
Okay.
All right, can I add to that real quick? Hold on. I want to add to that right quick, and I want to say something that was real interesting that's coming out right here, and I think Edwin really put a stamp on it. At the end of the day, history will speak louder than anything that we're ever going to say. Yeah. And although right now in this moment it may seem unfair, or it may seem like it looks like Tank is, you know, the face of boxing, quote unquote, there will be a point in time where people will look back, and the same thing with Canelo and this David Benavidez situation, or you know, Tank and listen, man, and I'm assuming and hoping that Tank is going to chase down these fights. He's going to make these legacy fights happen. I hope he does, but I hope that people understand that history will look maybe history won't look as lightly on the situation when they look back at it and they go, but what happened to his belts? Mm-hmm. What happened to his championship fights? What happened to his legacy? Oh no, he was getting rich. Well, we're talking about history right now. We don't care about his money. We want to know who he was. How are you guys going to give him these accolades that you guys are giving him, and he has no nothing to be celebrated except for his money? Yeah. We cannot celebrate him closing out his career with $250 million in his bank account. We're not finna sit here and celebrate that. Mm-hmm. Congratulations to him. He can celebrate. Somebody get him a cake. You know what I'm saying? And tell him we appreciate whatever that was. But we're gonna salute Devin Haney for being we're gonna salute Devin Haney for challenging himself at 147 and becoming a champion there at his age. We're gonna salute all the legacy fighters. We're gonna salute Terrence Crawford for being a 2-weight, maybe even 3-weight undisputed champion and a 4-weight division champion. We're going to salute all those accolades. And I don't know what Sugar Ray Leonard made against Tommy Hitman Hearns. I have no idea.
It doesn't matter, too. Exactly.
He made like $2 million. He made a lot.
I'm just trying to say, that's not what I celebrate about those guys. I don't celebrate those guys' paychecks and the money they made. I celebrate who they fought and the belts that they held and the competitive fights. I celebrate Roberto Duran for who he fought. Roberto Duran, one of my favorites. I didn't celebrate him because, you know, he had a Rolls Royce back then when nobody else had one, right? Oh, I didn't even know that, bro. This is the greatest. This is a face of boxing. Here I am thinking that Muhammad Ali was doing great things, and Roberto he had the new. I don't care. So that's why I say let the cards lay where the cards lay. Tank can do what he wants to do. You know, I've never had any issues with Tank moving the way he feels he needs to move. I've only held issue not with Tank, but with the boxing space that sits there and puts him on this pedestal to where everybody who wants to do something great or make money or do something like that has to walk through the Tank gates. You know what I'm saying? It's no longer that way with Turki Al-Sheikh there. There's legacy and money to be made because you have somebody with money who respects legacy now.
And I've been screaming that out for the longest, Clay, talking about belts matter. Accolades is the most important thing, you know. When we look back at this in history, you know, in the future, when we look back at the history, you know, what are you going to be able to say about this guy, you know, as far as his accolades? What belt, what titles did he do? What did he grab? You know, how many titles in how many weight classes was he champion and stuff like that? You know, those things that get you in the Hall of Fame, not, you know, what was the biggest pay-per-view? You know what I'm saying? He made a big bag in this fight. You know, he made the biggest fights. Right. And I think Tank is starting to realize that because he said he's going after accolades now. He want to fight all those dudes that we wanted to see him fight.
I think Edwin was also hitting on the nail when he said that you guys can say whatever you want to say, but Tank sat on his couch and watched Devin Haney live his dreams. And I think that's a significant thing to say because no matter what his fans want to say, no matter how they want to put perspective on it, all these boxers come up with aspirations and ambition to be great in this sport and to have their name ring in the same conversations of the greatest fighters in the history of this sport. When they come up in this sport at 9, 10, 7, 12, you know, when Mike Tyson gives a story about when he was young and he had an opportunity to meet Muhammad Ali, and he said, when after I met him, I knew what I wanted to do. I want to be great like him. Tank had aspirations of doing all those things. Just because he's not doing it, just because he's getting money, because he says things like titles don't matter, don't get it twisted for one moment. At some point in that man's career, he wanted to be an undisputed champion. He wanted to sit there with all those belts so he could be there in the same place as the Bernard Hopkins with all the belts in the pictures and
exactly.
and be like all the great fighters who held all those belts. That's what he wanted. I'm sure he has no problem getting rich.
Go ahead, Boxing Hacker.
So let me just I love what everybody's saying.
Hold on one second. I'm sure he's having a great time getting the money he wants to get. You know what I'm saying? Becoming rich. But as you can tell, you can call it how you want to call it, but I'm gonna show you, Ben. I could tell you that man today, after having all the money he's getting and getting this big deal with Amazon, he let it be known, I want the belts. I still want to do those things. So forget about what you guys are saying about him not needing belts or him not respecting belts, and forget about people like Floyd Mayweather who says belts don't make no difference, because Floyd Mayweather's biggest accomplishment that he ever made, and he'll tell you in 2 seconds without even batting the eyelashes, I beat more champions than any other fighter has.
Exactly.
He opens that belts on that table, and he's very prideful about those belts. Those belts ain't sitting in a storage unit, and they're not sitting in some pawn shop. Whenever you want to talk, you want to see Floyd Mayweather's belts, talk some shit to him, and see how quick he opens that room up real quick and let you know why you can't say nothing to him.
Exactly. I feel like a lot of fighters trying
40 belts sitting back there. And he's like, you see these belts? That's why you need to watch how you talk to me, bro. And you know what you're gonna do? Damn, that's a lot of belts, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. You're gonna walk up out of script and get off that boy's top. You know what I'm saying?
Hey Clay, remember when Kambosos had just beat T.O. and Kambosos had them belts, and he caught, Devin Haney was trying to make the fight with him, but he said he would rather fight Tank. And so he called out Tank, and Tank told him to drop the belts first, and then he'll fight him. And I was thinking to myself, like, what is he talking about? Like, why don't Leonard Ellaby or somebody steer him straight and tell him, he need to do that. He need to knock this dude out and get the belts. But people was acting like he said something great. Oh no.
All right. Let Boxing Hacker go, and then I gotta say something after that.
I love what everybody's saying, but we're forgetting the dark horse in the room. Boxing Twitter and boxing social media is the greatest promoter and the promoter of fighters today. When we look at and why I say this is that when boxing Twitter and boxing social media like a certain fighter, it's not all, of course, not all boxing fans. They will promote that fighter like crazy, and when they dislike a fighter, it starts to spread like wildfire, and they start talking crazy. Prime example will be like a Devin Haney. Devin Haney you'll say, man, I would love for Devin Haney to fight Tank. And boxing social media will show you diagrams of Devin Haney's last fight performance. Say, hey, look, he didn't fill out the stadiums. Where are all his ticket sales? We're not going to watch this.
Yeah, who cares about that? We want to see the fight.
Yeah. But it makes a big difference, because then you have fans who will now try to either stream the fight or won't watch the fight because they're on this protest, march for freedom against their fighters they don't like. I remember Devin Haney became undisputed, and people were saying, man, belts don't matter. Tank said it. Belts don't matter. What belts?
Not even the belts. Look who fought to get those belts. Look who he fought to get those belts. Tank didn't fight that caliber.
And guess what? Even with that, look, Kambosos, when he beat T.O., people were so amazed by Kambosos. They were like, damn, this guy might be a new dog in the race. The moment Devin beat him, what happened? Oh, Kambosos is some trash.
They do that to Bud.
They're like, he was some trash,
They do that to Bud every time. Every time Bud fights somebody, they're hoping that this guy beats Bud. Bud beats the fucking fighter. Once Bud beat him, they're like, oh man, this guy was trash. He was nothing. I'm like,
facts.
Yeah. Look at it with Canelo. Canelo said that he need 150 million to fight Bud, and he need 200 to fight Benavidez. And when people bring up Bud fighting Canelo, it's like, nah, they don't even want to hear it. And they bring up Bud's pay-per-view sales. I'm like, so what,
Yeah.
Berlanga?
Yeah.
So I'm like, so what do we say? So
Right.
Berlanga's a great pay-per-view fighter? Well, how does he get the it's like, what are we talking
Check
about?
this out, guys.
Another classic example where another classic example
It's because they're blinded by who they believe in. We keep saying this every day. It's like Jim Jones, you know what I mean? The real Jim Jones. I mean, it's like Waco, Texas. It's like you're leading these people to these places that they think they're gonna go to heaven on some spaceship because you tell them to blow their heads off. Pause. I ain't gonna say that. I'm gonna stop right there. I almost said something we could have gotten. I don't want to get in trouble. But tell them to do something crazy, and they just say, "Oh yeah, yes sir, that sounds right," because they told us to do it. The aliens told us. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be.
Another prime example of this is the rehire season card that just passed. I see all these everybody on boxing social media. Oh my god, that fight flopped. It only sold so many buys. I'm like, how do you guys know this? What is everyone talking about?
And why did they care,
article?
So real quick, because I do want to move the needle. It's the same topic. So what I wanted to ask was, we were talking about how Tank was like his situation. So what I was asking the question was, because I think that they only have like 2 or 3 fighters that are worth Tank's while over there at PBC. Everyone else is pretty much at top rank. So how is he going to make these fights happen if he has to find replacement fighters at the 135 division with those main fighters he has on his list? If all the rest of the fighters are at top rank, and he's probably not going to get those fights, how does that look? That's why I was asking the question, the headline question.
All right. I wanted to touch up on one thing, right, gentlemen. I just want to clear some lights on something. First of all, when all these gentlemen come into the sport of boxing, they can say what they want about these belts, but you got to see what they do in front of your eyes. For instance, men are willing to lie, cheat, promote an interim belt or a regular belt and deem it as or be announced as a champion. How much and so that Tio will look into a camera and say that he's the first man to successfully own all 4 belts at 2 separate weight division. Camboza campaigned that he was an undisputed champion until Devin Haney showed up with the real WBC. You see how these men are willing to lie for status, for the ability to call certain things for these belts, but yet some men will claim that they're nothing. They're everything in their sport and this game right here. And they will cheat, lie, steal, and rob just to obtain one. And they will come out and commit fraud to become called undisputed. But yet they'll look into your face and tell you they mean nothing. Tank Davis walked around with that interim champion, and part of his success was being introduced as the world champion with that little belt he had on when Devin Haney had all 4 belts. But yet he's going to say belts don't matter. Bullshit. This is everything. But these guys will sell it to you like this. Make no mistake. Just winning one is a big accomplishment.
Okay, facts. What? Destro go.
I mean, he took a break. Right, you know the connection goes left. He'll be back.
Yeah, I got you. All right, no problem. All right, who's next on the?
Probably Ryan Frazier. Honestly, he's been sitting there quiet. With the North.
Hey man, I try to be respectful. I like to hear everybody's opinion, man, because I love this sport, man. So I'm very subjective about the whole sport, man. My pops taught me that at a young age. You gotta look at this shit open. So I agree with everybody's position, but we need less belts in the sport, man. I think that would clear things up. That would make things look a little different. These Reggie belts, they don't really mean much because nobody has to. There's no mandatory for that. There's only mandatory for the super, and so it's like, what's the point of that belt if that guy's not gonna fight the super champ? So it's all money.
It's actually the opposite. It's mandatories for the other. The super doesn't have mandatories.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The supers have the mandatories and the Reggies don't. Like the Reggies don't have to.
No, it's the opposite way. The Reggies have the mandatories and the supers don't.
WBA,
I don't think it works that way
WBA is the only sanction that does that frequent. The WBO, the super fights are mandatory. The WBC,
the franchise champion don't have mandatories. That's why Loma went for it.
The
franchise don't exist no more though.
Right. The super champion is the champion. The WBC.
Yeah, that's only one organ. That's why the rules get mixed up.
Right.
It sounds like it's you hear it and you know that is a rule, but that only is for one organization for like one belt. The other three go by other rules.
Yeah.
Right. Because the WBA has that rule.
Yeah, it's Tank's belt.
I want to bring something. I want to get the panel's opinion on the topic here. You know, I mean, I've spoken on it. Me and Rave talked about it, but it's definitely going to come back full circle to this Turkey Al-Sheikh situation. The De La Hoya, the Tim Tszyu, and the Canelo situation, right? So Turkey seems like he's taking on a bit of energy about himself as of late. As of late, he's become very vocal. He's not keeping his mouth shut no more. The respect is there, but at the same time, Turkey showing he's not scared to defend himself. He's not scared to come out and be like, you said that about me. I got something to say too. I could talk too. I got stuff to say too. You know what I'm saying? And I think he's starting to learn how things work in America, right? Like he went to England. He's doing work over there. He brought England, embraced him. America's being a little bit more resistant to him, holding a lot of Saudi Arabia's history and things that they've been involved with and throwing it in his face. And also, more importantly, discrediting him as somebody who's here to improve boxing, but on the opposite side of the argument, painting him as somebody who's here to destroy boxing, take boxing and pervert boxing. And he's taking that pretty personal. Where do you guys stand as far as his position right now, as far as defending himself against Canelo, who said that he doesn't like his tonality in a text message, or he doesn't like how he does business, or even his position that he's holding right now with Tim Tszyu, saying that he doesn't want to work with Tim Tszyu right now. He's not interested in working with Tim Tszyu, basically saying that some kind of miscommunication or something has happened between either him and Tim Tszyu or him and Tim Tszyu's camp. How do you guys feel about Turkey Al-Sheikh's present stance on dealing with people who are not very receptive of his presence in the space right now?
I think he's a very smart businessman, but he just learning that he has to become more Americanized. I think he's very intelligent, and it really showed in that interview that you were speaking of when they said Canelo Alvarez didn't like how you did business. And he said, why? He said, because Canelo said the way he was approached, and he quickly said, well, the way he was approached and represented has nothing to do with me. If he didn't like how the promoter talked to him, that wasn't me talking to him. So you didn't have to word your opinion on it. So it shows his intelligence as a businessman. He's very sharp. He just got to be more Americanized. And when you're coming over here and you're dealing with a lot of egos, Canelo was used to getting his own way. But once he saw that all these promoters are siding with Prince Al-Sheikh, they almost got these guys cornered in. Canelo was used to laying on his lily pad, being the king he was. Now they're attacking him from every angle, and he can't hide as much. And the curtain is being pulled. Al-Sheikh is changing people's lives, for God's sake. He's giving away cars and $200,000 in a stand on the third row for that person that paid a ticket up there. Like the man's trying to do everything, but you're saying you don't. Now all of a sudden I'm gonna focus on this fighter. It's whatever Canelo wants to. It's like they're having a pissing contest. And Canelo doesn't want to concede to the fact that he's the unofficial king. And this man right here, business is business. You're not going to please everyone. But I really like what Al-Sheikh is doing. And if you ask me, at the end of the day, the dollar amount is not enough for what these men put on the line. And if this man can make their lives a little bit more comfortable, then who the fuck am I to tell? Get your money, boo-boo. You know what I'm saying? Get your money.
It's moving along. How you feel, Ryan?
I feel like that boo-boo deserves the pause, man.
Ryan's in Canada, so Ryan is definitely like. But go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead. Build on it. What you think?
Yeah, man. Obviously, Turkey Al-Sheikh's a great business guy, and I think he's gonna come at this. He'll circle back around, man. He's a slick guy. I think he'll come back around on a different angle, and he'll show Canelo, hey, I'm gonna give you the show without giving you the show, and he'll pitch it that way to him, and it'll make Canelo. He'll bubble him up, make him feel good about himself, like Like you're taking advantage of me, but not really. But Canelo is obviously, he says he gets 80% of whatever the show does. That's an incredible deal, man. I don't know if it's true. That's what he said out his mouth. And if I'm making 80% of everything, like chips, drinks, tickets, then I'm not even looking Turkey's way either. I'm like, bro, I'm doing me. I've already put in 65 fights. You know, I did this without you already. I came this far. I don't need you, man. And that's
that's fair too, right, Ryan? Like that.
Yeah, exactly. He put in work.
I think the boxing space is trying to turn Turkey into somebody emotional, right? Like somebody who doesn't understand that, who's not willing to accept that, right? Yeah. Turkey's completely like, oh, okay, we ain't got to do business. That's what's up. Man. Don't want to do business. I didn't know
business, man. You put the groundwork down.
Oh, okay.
You want to come by it?
Go ahead and make some other.
How many times you think Turkey Ali has ever been told the word no?
1,000,000 times.
Nope, nice. I don't think so.
Yeah, bro, I believe so. I know so.
He works with the Prince King of Saudi Arabia.
Bro, you've never had that kind of man in your presence, and basically,
bro,
you got a bunch of yes men.
Come back bigger. You know we're gonna make him come back bigger. That's what it is,
bro. Trust me, he does business. He went to Stanford Business
Tell
School.
Him no.
He got like a master's degree.
Around with a better number. That's what it is.
He understands. Turkey's actually taking it right on the chin. He's not. Yeah. Turkey's feelings ain't hurt, and I think I'm gonna be real with you. Can I be real with you guys for a minute? I think Canelo's feelings is hurt.
Yeah,
I think everybody's trying to put it on Turkey. Turkey didn't go out publicly and address this. He responded and said, "Listen, man, I'm no longer interested in doing this anymore. I'm going to be going other directions. Here's what I am going to do. I'm going to continue to make fights for Crawford. I'm going to be making fights for Boots, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, David Benavidez." And Virgil Ortiz and a bunch of other fighters. He lets you know, no skin off my back. No big deal. Canelo saying no to me is no big deal to me. It was Canelo who, in my opinion, was kind of shocked at the way Turkey walked away from the situation without no argument, without no pushback, and he had to put the answer into the world to let the world know, nah, bro, what you guys are seeing isn't what you're seeing. You think you're seeing somebody who doesn't give a damn about what I think and doesn't give a damn if he wants to fight, if I want to fight or fight one of his fighters or not. He's trying to make it look like that because I told him we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to move like this, and we got to move like that. And then he came out at the fight and said, yeah, bro, Canelo. He told everybody, Canelo doesn't want to do business. I'm okay with that. I don't see with that. Why would he say I don't do good business in boxing? Why would he go and say these other things? Like, why is he's in his feelings? He's the one dissing me. I ain't dissing him. He's the one throwing shots at me. The one who throws the stone, that's the one whose feelings is hurt. That's the one who feels like he needs to make a statement. Turkey.
Am I the only person that feels like this? I think I'm at a point where I think if Prince Ali says 100, Canelo say 150. If he says 150, I think Canelo say 200. If he says 200, then Canelo say 250. Right. It's like he doesn't, I don't think it's getting to the point where I'm like, he just doesn't want to fight Terrence Crawford. He didn't do good against Floyd. He knows that style right there. When you got a little bit too much mobility, he took a shot at it. He was 20 pounds bigger than Floyd. He was for sure. I'm 23 years old. He's an old man. I can beat him. I don't think he won more than 2 or 3 rounds. Like
Canelo was a weight bully.
Edwin, let me ask you a question.
Did you just say Canelo was a weight bully?
No, yeah, but look, Edwin, let me ask you this, right?
Yeah,
you're here to make a deal, right? You go to buy a car. It's a car that you want. You're not hiding your feelings about the car. You saw the car. You came here to buy the car. I want this car. All right. The car's worth $50,000. Okay, look, bro. I'm gonna shoot you 60 just to shut up all the talk. It's not about the money. It's about the car. Give me 60. Then the moron you're gonna buy the car from doesn't take the gift you're giving him and says he wants 100,000. Now you go, listen, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. I do want the car, but I wasn't born yesterday. Go ahead and keep your car, bro. We ain't got to negotiate no more. Now the moron he wants to throw rocks at you and be like, oh, he in his feelings now. I thought he wanted the car. He in his feelings. And you look at him like, I'm in my feelings, bro. Listen, I came to buy the car from you for 60 grand. It's only worth 50 grand. You came out the side of your neck and said you want 100 G's. We good. There ain't nothing left to negotiate. We straight. You don't want to
When I offered you 60 on a strength, I was going to even give you 10 more.
I was just going to shoot it at you just to show you my intentions and leave you walking away winner.
And then you went and put it to 100.
Yes.
Yeah, but if Canelo is making 80%,
you know what you just said
making
to me?
up to that 200.
You don't want to sell your car, bro. I'm okay with that. I wish you would just said that, and I wouldn't.
Yeah,
came out here. Keep your car.
Hey, this what I think it is, y'all. I think I had a conversation with Clay, you know what I'm saying, behind the scenes before, and we was talking about this very subject, and I'm starting to see how he was seeing it. You know, that Turki Al-Sheikh is actually low-key exposing these dudes, man. A lot of these fighters, they want to cherry pick and do all these different things and try to hide behind the money and say the money is the reason why they're not making certain fights. But with Turki Al-Sheikh, the money is, on the table. The money is there, so they can't hide behind the money being the excuse anymore. And they know when Turki set them up to fight, Turki's going to have them fight somebody who he should be fighting, and they don't want to have them fights. And it seemed like we seen that with Virgil Ortiz with the Bud Crawford thing. He right away he said, right away he said he want to see Bud versus Virgil Ortiz, and now Virgil Ortiz look like he backing out of that.
Mm-hmm. He took the bag out of the conversation, and he's making these fighters expose themselves. He's making these promoters expose themselves too. Shout out to Oscar De La Hoya. I see Richard Paris put something here, and I kind of want to respond to it here. Right? He says what Turki needs to understand too is that some of these big boxes have their teams, and they will not conform to the idea of Turki only wanting to deal directly with the fighter. Listen, bro, Turki has no issues with that. Listen, if he hasn't shown you yet, you're not paying attention. If you don't want the bag, if you don't want to do business, I'm gonna move on. He let you know in that message he put on Twitter. I'm moving on from Canelo. And he listed 7 other fighters he's interested in helping to promote. You know what I'm saying? What Turki's letting you know is one face of boxing, don't stop, no show. You're just exposing yourself to the public that you're a duck, that you don't want to fight nobody who can probably beat you. You don't want to fight no competitive fights. Everybody sees you for what it is. That's why I have no problems. I don't even want to make great fights. If you don't want to be part of that, we can keep it moving. Tim Zoo, your team feels like you're too good, and I'm not even interested in. I don't even care about doing no business with you. I'm the one shooting the bag out. Canelo, I got to do things your way. I don't got to do nothing like you ain't got to do nothing, bro. I don't got to do nothing just like you ain't got to do nothing. You're
showing him. You ain't boxing, Canelo. There's much more to boxing than you.
Right. You're smelling yourself. You've clearly been in a world where every single person around you has been kissing your tail and chasing you for money. You're talking to the wrong guy that way. I don't care about you. You got no money that I'm interested in. I'm interested in the fight. And if you don't want to do business, the conversation can end inside of 5 minutes. There's no going back and forth and all that stuff that you're used to, hanging up on people and they call you back. I ain't calling you back. I forgot about you. I don't even talk English well enough to be going back and forth with you like this, brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? My English is not good enough to be doing this with you the way you want to get it done. I'm going to keep it moving, bro. The space butt got hurt. Canelo's butt got hurt. Everybody is projecting. I promise you, Canelo is projecting his feelings onto Turki. He wants you guys to believe that Turki's in his feelings. Turki could give a shit about it. And that's what he's trying to let you know. They're projecting on him like, oh, now Turki's butt is hurt. Why is his butt hurt? What has he done to show you that his butt is hurt? That man is out there bossing De La Hoya around on the damn stage on camera, telling him, you know what I'm saying, what fights are getting ready to happen next. That man is moving around, shaking hands and putting money in people's pockets, putting on the biggest events of this year. You know what I mean? He's on fire, bro. Your boy just got inducted into the Nevada Hall of Fame, whether you think he deserves it or not. I don't care to argue it. I don't care whether he deserves it or not. I'm just letting you know he has nothing to hold his head down about. There's nothing that, you know what I'm saying, that's happened that makes sense for him to hold his head down. The boxing space wants to believe that Turki Al-Sheikh, he got checked, or he's out of his lane. Turki is moved on 5 days ago, bro. The day after that fight, after he sent the text message and they said to him whatever they said to him, he put out on Twitter before the sun came up the next morning. yo, I'm moving like this, I'm moving like this, I'm moving like this. Bless to everybody. Where's his feelings hurt at? Don't let these guys, bro.
Everybody in the live chat, please smash that like button if you like what we're putting down here. We're putting down an amazing show here. There's a lot of things being said here about boxing. We're bringing the latest in boxing news. We talk about all topics, and we come right to the point, and we hold no punches here. So thank you for supporting Claymore's channel, but do me a favor and smash that like button.
Thank you. I appreciate you, brother. I do appreciate you, man. And shout out to my co-host, Ray Davis, in the building for helping moderate tonight as well and keep this going. This is a great panel tonight, man. A great panel. We're talking about a lot of good things up in here. Shout out to you, Richard Paris. Yeah, man. I appreciate that, man. It's a clash of egos, man. There's something about meeting your equal or somebody who doesn't bend. Just something I know you guys have all been there where you walk into a room and you see a guy treating everybody in the room a certain way, and then you walk up to talk to him, and the dude thinks he's going to treat you like he's treating everybody else in the room, and you look at him like, bro, I'm not one of these dudes in the room with you, bro. I care about money. I care about
swallow. Claymore, that's a tough pill to swallow.
I got my own.
When you're used to being the man in the room, when you're used to being that dude, and then the other person walks in and all the cameras go to him, that's a tough pill to swallow sometimes. And a lot of egos can clash. And I think that's a little bit of what's going on. A little bit of egos are clashing.
Yeah, I think there's an ego clashing. I'm telling you, Turkey don't even smell himself, bro. He's like, there is no egos to clash. I don't care. That feeling of not caring, I've moved on. The ego that clashed is
I've never been that rich.
Right. Canelo's like, oh, we have to do things. Canelo's like, no, I'm telling Turkey we need to do things my way. And Turkey's like, what?
Yeah, but yo, Canelo's
Berlanga, bro. You gotta fight Berlanga. Go fight Berlanga. Go get your fight on, bro.
They'll all circle back.
These fighters get edgy when fight time comes, man. Trust me. Like, I had Jared Anderson on Instagram going crazy on me. Like, bro, these fighters when the fight gets close, they get edgy, man. They get edgy.
That's because they ain't eating, man. Yeah, nobody's eating food at that time.
I think hungry is rough. Did he mess with you after the fight? Did he text you after the fight?
Nah, he didn't, man. I had him.
I bet he didn't.
I just said something.
You're wrong for that, Will.
Yeah, man. It's all good. It's all good, man. Shout out to Canelo Alvarez, bro. I hope he does great things. Canelo, if it's worth anything to you, bro, I think you've had a decent career. I just want you to let go of those damn belts and allow 168 to be 168. That's it. Right. Other than that, I don't care about what you're doing, bro. Like, I don't care if you go fight Jake Paul, right? And a matter of fact, great idea, man. Listen, drop the belts and put a fight together with Jake Paul, bro. I'm there, bro. Spending the money. I'm getting the pay, bro. I want to see you knock Jake Paul out. Jake Paul needs to get regulated. Let the belts put a fight together on Netflix with Jake Paul. We all in there. We're gonna be covering it right here live, full panel, watching you put hands and feet on Jake Paul, bro. But for the love of God, let go of them damn belts, bro. You out of pocket. I ain't gotta tell you, you don't need them either. You're Canelo Alvarez, bro. You're gonna get the money. You're gonna make the biggest fights. Let the belts go, man.
Yo, one thing I want to touch on with that whole Turkey situation. I feel like Turkey knows that he's gonna be. If y'all ever seen the show Highlander, he's gonna be the last one standing at the end of the day. Like at the end of the day, like you look at it,
only one. Yeah,
there can be only one, and let it be Turkey at this point, right? And you look at it, and you're like, well, I remember somebody just made this argument. Well, the only people that go to Turkey are people who aren't making good with back end money, like great fighters like Tank and Canelo, or don't need to go to Turkey because they get good on the back end. I'm like, bro, that's two people. You think, what are we talking about? That's only two people. Like, and guess what? If those two, you have two people. Let's say they don't go with Turkey, right? Then sooner or later, everybody else starts trickling in. All the people you call the B side, because everybody's the B side to Canelo, everybody's the B side to Tank. If all those B-side people go to Turkey, you're gonna have to deal with Turkey, and I think Turkey sees that. He sees the fact, like, oh, okay, you don't want to mess with me today. All right, you good?
Anyway, doesn't need Turkey either, man.
Yeah,
AJ doesn't need him either.
You said AJ don't need Turkey?
AJ and Anyway, they don't need him either.
How about this?
Anyway,
one?
maybe not.
Try this one on. They calling Turkey the face of boxing.
That's who he is.
When it comes time to negotiate with these A sides, Turkey comes to the table and goes, "You're not the A side to me, bro. I'm not the B side to you, bro. I'm not trying to fight you, bro. I'm not your B side." You understand what I'm saying? Now we can talk, we can chop it up, and I could put some money in your pocket. But you come over here talking about, I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna tell you that. You're gonna be telling the door, because I'm about to close it in your face and get back to what I was doing, smoking some hashish in the building and doing my thing, bro. I'm gonna forget about you before I even knew your name. You talking to me crazy. You need to. It's a different thing. You guys have been so used to carrying yourself this way. It's going to be embarrassing in front of the wrong people.
It must be humbling. That must be a humbling experience. As for one in particular thing for Prince Ali and the business aspect, I just want to bring the business side. I want to see what you guys think about this. Sure. Okay, I see what he's doing when he's got 4 of the top promotional companies in a partnership with him, which is like Matchroom, Top Rank, and you know what I'm saying, Oscar, he got those. But I want to know if you guys think about this. If he really wants to control boxing, I don't think you should have went after the promoters. I think you should have bought the sanctioning bodies. If you own the belts, then you can control boxing. The promoters got to come to you. And I'm just bringing that as a business aspect if he ever thought of that. I think he's buying the wrong pieces as I sit here and I think about it. He should have went after the organizations that own the belts. You control the belt.
Hold on. He works with them as well.
I know. He works with working with them and owning them are two different things. I'm talking about buying all of the WBC, buying the WBO, buying the WBA, buying the IBF. You control the belts. If they don't want to work with you as promoters, I bet you they will then.
Yeah, but listen, he's doing this.
It's just a thought. It's just I'm in the wheel. What do you guys think?
I think the direction you're going in makes complete sense, and I think he has thought about it to a degree. And I think the way he's approaching it is he wants to make a league, and he's going to make the belts in that league, and he wants the top fighters of all these promotional companies to meet up once or twice a year to put up all their best fighters against each other on this independent platform, to where the fighters can kind of fight in a tournament style type of setup, to where they're getting this belt. If you notice, he did that with the undisputed belt, right? Excuse me, who was it? Tyson and Alexander Usyk. He had a belt made that he gave to them that became like the new Ring Magazine version. It was like the one undisputed belt that they got. Now he was playing with that. He experimented with that, but I think what he realized is if he's able to get all these fighters on a platform to where the best can fight the best, they'll value his belt more than they'll value all these different sanctioning bodies belts at one point, because it'll be the real undisputed champion for the first time.
Case in point, right? The UFC owner, Dana White, right? When he was making the UFC and they started to make other mixed martial arts, around him and stuff, what he did was he bought them all out. He bought all the major ones out, and then he was the owner of them, so he lowered them and kept the UFC prestigious. What you're describing is you think that if the organizations don't want to play with ball with him, he's going to invent a belt, and at some point he's going to put it against the other organizations and see if that would be right. So I see that way, right? But I just thought it would have been a little bit lucrative if he just went after them and just outright bought them out, kept the name of the WBC, the IBF, because its prestige is already known. That's like buying McDonald's and keeping it McDonald's, but now you own it. You see? But now you control it. You see? And then by controlling them, if you control the belts and you're boxing promoter and you want to promote against one of my WBC belts, who do you got to come talk to?
Right.
Well, you gotta come talk to you. But there's a problem there though. So like that's what you call like a confident takeover. Like you don't want. So I think Turkey is gonna eventually try take over as much.
I'm not sure if there's a law in place for monopoly, but
there isn't. But I also think
I'm just saying, as a belt, as hoarding the belts, that would be some type. I mean, it wouldn't.
Right. It would get a lot of pushback. I think Turkey's more interested in offering an option outside of taking over boxing. I think he wants to offer, and I think what he's saying to himself is, if I offer the better option, if I can get the fighters to respect my belt more than they respect, because there's already been a campaign by the fighters disrespecting the belts, right? Like you just heard Ryan Frazier sit here and say, man, there's too many belts. So there's already a campaign going on inside of boxing for the power. You see Errol Spence sitting on a stage, you know what I'm saying, questioning the intentions and the legitimacy of these belts and these fees that they're paying and all these extra things that come with these belts. You see Gervonta Tank Davis saying, F them belts. You see Floyd Mayweather saying belts don't feed your kids. There's been a campaign for the past 10 to 20 years over these damn belts and how the sanctioning bodies handle these fighters, making them pay all these fees and, you know, doing what the WBC is doing right now by kissing Canelo's behind and not, you know, forcing him to fight his mandatories or threaten him with him being stripped and things of that nature. Now he's going to capitalize on a weak sport right now, and he's going to bring some integrity back to the sport, and he's going to bring his own belt into the situation, backed with your best paydays. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to back my belt with your best paydays, and let's see the fighters make the decision to be like, those belts is cool, but we really respect this belt.
Right.
At the end of the day, those belts are only as good as the champions that wear them. Let's be honest.
Right.
What makes these belts prestigious are the men and women that held them. So, I mean, to your point, Claymore, if he can get more champions to wrap that belt around their waist, now you're talking.
That's a good look.
That's fine.
I have to drop off, guys.
Yeah.
I got
to late anyway. Yeah, we got to. Yeah, it's 1 o'clock. We say, Clay. One more topic. You want to end it?
I mean, we can end it. You know, let's leave something for tomorrow. This
is we got some stuff to talk about. I just seen some stuff on Twitter, so I was holding off. I was reading Twitter. I'm like, man, I don't want to
watch the Twitter.
Boxing Hacker. Shout out to you, Edwin. You were great today. Ryan Frazier. Yo, you always, you know what I'm saying, always happy to see you hit
salute
that.
To you guys, man. Salute to the chat.
And Boxing Hacker.
Yeah,
you
me too. I win. All right, guys. All right,
everybody in the chat.
Freaking Flyer, Destro.
Yeah, freaking Flyer was in the building. Ross Clot, definitely. You know, the regulars, everybody in the chat tonight. We had a decent turnout as well. I appreciate you guys. Guys, remember on your way out, if you haven't done it yet, hit the like. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I encourage you to go ahead and hit that subscribe channel. And that subscription to the channel. Make sure you hit your bell notification so you're getting all your notifications when we drop in this content. I appreciate everybody in the building. Ray, I don't know if you want to close it out and give these guys some words of encouragement, or, you know, the thing that you do your thing.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to say something short, and I'm going to pass it to Edwin, because I like how Edwin closes it out on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He do his thing. So listen, at the end of the day, I want to thank everybody for coming. You know what it is. You know what I mean? We building this boxing up. We're talking about boxing. We're talking about divisions. We're talking about champions. We're talking about contenders. We're always doing that because we're trying to educate you guys and whatever you guys are educated on. Let's just say you are. You know what? We want to talk about it with you. The reason why? Because we're not talking about it, and that's what we're doing. And we want to bring that to the houses of everyone in this boxing space. We want to make sure that this lives on and that we get this popping. Let's kick it over to Edwin for the closeout.
Well, fight fans, thank you for tuning in. I hope you got something out of this amazing show where you heard different points of view. Claymore brings a safe environment where you can come and get some of your latest news on the top stories that are going around in boxing. It is my pleasure joining his platform, and every man that joined the platform today, I salute you and your pursuit to the sport that we all love. And Claymore, you have an amazing show here, and thank you for inviting me as a guest. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate all of you guys, man. Salute to all you guys. Ray, Ryan, you want to say deuces to your Canadians?
Oh man, we appreciate y'all. I appreciate you guys. Ray Davis, Claymore, invite me up here, allow me to speak to the people. You know, let's keep supporting the sport, man. It's in a good place right now. We just need to keep uplifting everything that's going on, man. And man, everybody have a good night.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry about that, guys, but I spilled my shit all over me at the end, and I didn't know what to do. I was like,
"Oh, you got decisions."
All right, guys. Good night, guys.
All right,
Good night. Salute.
All right, salute. One. Shit.
When you elevate. The hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. Ooh, yeah. Why they wanna put me down? So much drip, yeah, I almost drowned in it. I can't come it down. Yeah, I'm way too fired up. I can't slow it down. Ooh, yeah. I see the flashing lights. Make sure the fashion right, yeah. I'm in my bag tonight, yeah. Ooh, I might just pull up a foreign. Watch out, the engine is roaring.